Welcome to Session 8 of the Shadows of the Ancients, titled Aftermath. We are following the devastation of Session 7, Siege of KingsCrown, and we'll hand it over to Chris real quickly to give us a recap of that session.
You know, I always thought that I knew how the world worked. I thought I knew how things would be if push came to shove. I thought that. But I've been surprised numerous times now, both by the luck and genuine grit that my allies display and the intense fervor of what we're being chased by. To get to KingsCrown, we have to go through an abandoned city full of insects and arachnids, and then be chased by a thing I can only describe as a walking nightmare. And as soon as we did reach KingsCrown, we were faced with an army of 1,400 strong and a giant. Not exactly the best of odds, eh? It's no secret I wasn't seeing too much hope. I mean, a stone speaker was there. What exactly could we do? But the moment I was about to say, we should just go, the Grey Wings arrived. Former Convokers, and with their advantage, we just might have had a shot. We decided collectively that we wouldn't fight on the front. We would sort of sneak around and combat their shamanic king under the giant stone speaker. And through a combination of cleverness and I don't even know what, the final blow was struck and his head was crushed by a certain very respectable dwarf. We returned back to the keep, and the battle, the siege of KingsCrown, was not going good. The keep was barely holding. The gate was being rammed into repeatedly, and we had a choice. Either we run, or we fight back against all odds. No secret again, what we chose to go with. We hacked and slashed and pushed and did all we could. But the hunter, the pale orc, he was just better than us. He slayed our charge, Emrin, gutted him like he was nothing, and then proceeded to dismantle us. Sebastian, Riff, even me. Dovod, a warrior I've come to respect, couldn't even fight him. I got told that Ithar was the only one that lasted against him, but that was... even then, it was only moments. We could not fight that thing yet. I suppose I should mention, my son came to talk. It was expected in a way. They always show up when they're least expected. And with the reclamations coming, the organization I put my faith in, a cause I believed in, has been split down the middle. My son on one side and me on the other. I don't intend to fight him, but nor do I intend to abandon the good men I've come to put my faith in either. Soon the queen will come, and when she does, I intend to be sure that my friends are not in harm's way. Signed, Darius Corin, the 15th day of the second month of spring.
Take a point of inspiration for that awesome recap. And as you sign your name at the bottom of this entry, you turn your head and you look out the window of the infirmary. A makeshift section of the throne room that's been partitioned for those who have a chance of living. And out the window you see devastation. the cobblestones still stained red with blood. The gate, loosely patched together with what they could find, loose spear hafts, pieces of broken wood, harnesses, bits of leather, whatever they can find to nail the gate together. As we back outwards through the keep, floating upwards into the sky, we can see griffins coming to and from the keep, watching for approaching armies, potential enemies. A new copse of hills has formed. The body of Ulor, the stone giant, stone speaker, now formed into a vaguely resemblant series of hills that look like a body. His molten gold blood now filling the earth and enriching the soil. Inside of the keep, Dovod's vipers have been cut in half. Now only about 100 of them left. The Black Brigade, also whittled down, showing up just in time to take on the Northern Army, also cut down in half. The Grey Wings have fared the best because they had the easiest fight up in the air. But even then, still a quarter of their numbers cut down. And your party once of 6, a third of you missing, now 4. Bodies are hauled out into the grassy knolls and hills surrounding this keep. A massive grave is being dug for the bodies of the enemy soldiers, while anybody who can is offering their hand to dig graves for those who died defending this keep. It is now here that you gather, standing alongside those who fought with you, members of the Ebony, the spy organization that Dovod managed to recruit, Grey Wings, ex-convokers, Dovod's Vipers, giant hunting mercenaries, the Black Brigade, soldiers and friends, also called by Dovod. You stand side by side, shoulders together, brothers in this conflict. And at your head, officiating the meeting, Dylrand, leader of the Grey Wings, calls out, having borrowed Emrin's ring so that you can hear him. My brothers and sisters, we stood alongside one another and fought and died and bled and wept so that there could be a hope. And today, as we come together, we know that we are united. We have all lost someone, a friend, a brother, a sister, a brother in arms. We have all bled together, the same blood that seeps through this earth and on these cobblestones now. But most of all, we have promised ourselves to one another as friends and colleagues, as soldiers in the wars to come. Many have died, but they have died so that we may live. Let us not forget them. And he would look to his side where Dovod would be standing and kind of beckon you up and offer you the ring so that you could say what you needed to.
Dovod would awkwardly, uncomfortably walk up and take the ring. He would look out at the few that remain. He would think of all the graves that were already dug. friends that were lost, and he would just, I don't do this stuff. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't like it. I don't like saying goodbye. Lost some good people. People that are very close to me. And I'll miss dearly. But nothing's done for crying over those that are already lost. We need to take their sacrifices. Tagnus, Emrin. And his eyes would water up a little bit, and he'd say, Ithar, we need to make it count. I intend to. And he would hand the ring over, not even looking at him, walk off.
Dalrand would take the ring, and he would offer it to another person who lost many, Lex. And she would come up and say some words, and he would offer it to Osmond, but Osmond would just shake his head. And he would lift it back to his lips. If there's anyone who would like to say anything else, feel free to come forward.
Sebastian, who's had his cloak kind of over his head and just looking down the entire time, suddenly kind of lifts it, looking up towards Dovod, and he starts to walk to the front in front of all these people, but it seems like so much less to him now. And in an instant, he kind of chants under his breath and casts a spell. He casts Disguise Self, and he hides the half-burnt side of his face and kind of gives him the look of his natural self, just completely humanized, the hair on both sides, the charred embers gone. And he kind of almost shakily stands up. He didn't have anything planned to say. He doesn't know why he signed up to actually say anything. He could have just got by without saying anything, but it doesn't feel right. So his voice kind of shaky, just looks out to everybody. Before all this happened, most of you don't even know. Even now, I feel I don't know your names, but we all fought together. We all lost many together. And I'll always consider each one of you a family to me from this day on. I consider those who I lost family also. I have lost many. We have lost many, and many have given their lives so that we can keep ours and go forward. Don't really know why people keep doing that. And he kind of gets teary-eyed. But from this day forward, I'll be damned if they do it for nothing. Ithar, Olbin, Emrin, all the others. I promise that the sacrifice you made will not be for nothing. Thank you. And I'm sorry I wasn't strong enough. And he kind of pulls his cloak back up and walks down.
As you walked through the ranks to kind of get back to your position, several people would lean out of line and kind of slap you on the back and pat you on the shoulder. A couple other people go up. Soldiers, members of the Grey Wings, a couple of the Vipers. Does anybody else wish to get up and say anything? Darius, as you're standing there under the heat of the sun, looking up at the stage, I want you Well, actually, you would just notice this immediately. You feel a burning sensation on your wrist, almost as if somebody's branding you, scorching your skin and tearing at it with knives and with claws.
Would it be my good arm, I assume?
It's your right arm, whichever one that is.
The right arm is the one I can move.
Yeah, so it'd be your right arm.
As this happens, he this just all sizzling, burning, clawing. He looks down at his arm and kind of squeezes his hand into a fist and tries not to make too much noise. This is a somber occasion. He just tries his best to sort of put the sleeve against his body and sort of slide it up so he can at least look at it so he knows the source of his pain.
Yeah, I want you to roll me a con save to not cry out against this sheer burning pain on your wrist.
Very well. That would be a 16.
Yeah, that's enough. I mean, you kind of grit your teeth, grinding them together against this pain. It feels like somebody's taken a hot iron and just slapped it on your wrist.
Mm.
And as you kind of grab your glove and like slide it out of the way so you can see, what you see terrifies you. Because it's a reality check. Now, emblazoned on your wrist in pure black is a crown. And you know what this means. The Black Queen is coming. You are marked.
I just look at this for a good few moments before I put the glove back and I try to pretend that nothing happened. Like keeping the marks sort of always directed towards my body, sort of so the others close to me won't notice. I, as of now, have no intention of telling anybody this. It's my problem, and whether I die pursuing it, that's my deal. I'll protect them as long as I can.
I want you to tell me something. What rumors of the Black Queen have you heard that terrifies you so?
I've heard that she never stops. I've heard that it doesn't matter how many barricades you put up. Supposedly, there was someone who was marked before that had 24-hour watches, a fortress erected to try to stop her, and it didn't matter. It was just like she just appeared one day and stabbed him through his heart. It was like you never know where she is until she is there. And that is the part that makes her so terrifying. It's as if it's like she isn't even human. Just knows where exactly to be and at what time and can always get there.
Yeah. And you've seen her one time, once. You remember that it was in a passing moment, a fleeting shadow. You couldn't tell how old she was, how tall she was, what she even looked like. Because all around her, a darkness seemed to fill everything, a fog centered on her. But you remember as she passed you, the chill, the fear. You remember it felt as if 1,000 daggers were being dug into one of each of your pores, drilled into your flesh. But when you looked down, there were no cuts. There was no blood. But your skin was white, deathly white. And you knew if you could see yourself, that your skin, your face would be as pale as a sheet.
I've been through a lot. Throughout my long career, I've seen slaughter. I've seen things happen to people that I wouldn't wish on anyone. But for the first time, I actually feel terrified, but perhaps even more resolved than ever. That I am not. She'll kill me. I know that. I feel that down to my very core. She will manage to do that. But as long as they live, I can find a way to live, find a way to accept that. And I'll try anything in my power to make sure that they do.
And you're broken from your reverie by Dylorand giving his last words, and everybody around you moving, helping to carry bodies into graves to cover them back up. Anybody who wished to help could. But as the process wound down to a finish, you would find yourselves each tapped on the arm by a different individual and told that the council was being held and that you were called to meet with the rest of the council. It's being held inside the castle, inside of the old king's quarters, which have been cleaned out and turned into a council chamber. You know exactly where they are. You can meet up with each other. You can go separately and show up there. It's up to you.
I bet Briff would be off away from the others after having tried and being a bit too weak to help carry some of the bodies, specifically Tags, to be where they were buried. He would have stayed there a little bit longer. Said a few things to him. And then as a memorial for the friendship they once had, ended up not at the end. He would have left this small dragon scale over him that his companions would have seen from when the two were reunited. The symbol that he would show them, when they were meeting before, they were being brought out of this by the person coming to tell him about that he was being summoned, and slowly made his way there.
Sebastian too would kind of make his own way there. He's been rather quiet up until this point during the 3 days of recovery. That speech he gave would have been the first one. And he's kind of been distant from the group, giving everyone their space.
Darius would make his way on his own, but he would, as he goes, sort of sidetrack and look to Dovod wherever he is, and he wouldn't say anything, but he would just give him this look of understanding, of not knowing what to say when you want to say something. And he just muttered to him, "I'm old. I probably won't live for more than a decade now. And do you know the feeling where you just feel the most useless right now?" And then he just walk on that note.
You would all, as you made your way back to the keep, you would all arrive just outside the doors, which are closed, at about the same time. You all are bruised, broken, bloodied, scarred people. You all have seen the Nightmare of War together, have fought and been broken together. And you can see it on the map of each other's bodies. These scars, the things that you've faced together. Dovod, as you're all waiting here, what are you thinking as you're looking at this young group of convokers, these people who have seen their share of battles but perhaps have not fought a war?
Well, what Devod's thinking is one of the last things that Ithar had said to him. She had asked him to see them through. So whatever he might think of these untested people before him, he's going to be true to that. Everyone grieves in a different way. And he's recognized that in them. He's thought about what Sebastian had said. Even though he didn't look like he was listening, he heard Darius's words. I'm going to see him through, is what he's thinking. He doesn't say it. He stays committed to it.
Is anybody doing anything as you wait for a couple minutes, waiting for them to open the door?
Sebastian is playing with something in his pocket. He pulls it out, and it's a gold ring that Ithar gave to him. He hasn't put it on yet, but he's just absent-mindedly kind of rolling it around between his two fingers and looking at it, not really paying attention to the room at all, just waiting for something to break the silence so that this meeting can start and just get on with it.
Darius, I imagine, would sort of, after a long silence, he would sort of walk over to Sebastian, kind of put a hand on his shoulder, and I imagine he wouldn't notice until he's actually touching him.
Yeah, he kind of jumps as you do.
I have a favor to ask you. He says he sort of sits down, sort of wincing as he prods against one of the wounds he got. And he would sort of reach into his pocket and pull out a small notebook and flip to a page. And he would show him, I want you, if you can, to make me this. I can't fight like this. He says he sort of shrugs his left shoulder, sort of just emphasizing the limp arm. And he would see upon the page just a rough idea of something he's heard of being possible if you're a skilled enough mage or crafter. Basically being an artificial, magically enchanted arm. Something that he could replace his current one with.
Sebastian takes the notebook from your hand and kind of looks at it, then gives you a look like, do you mind if he rips the page out?
Go ahead.
Tears it, hands you the book back, and then I'll give it a look over.
Thank you. And he'd pocket the notebook again and sort of lean up against the wall again, just going silent.
Briff would break this new silence. You guys were probably speaking fairly quietly. It wasn't very long. So it's mostly the same silence. He's kind of leaning against a wall with his eyes closed. Sounds about right, doesn't it? Call us here and to make us wait for however long they feel like it. Not as if we were in the middle of anything, or, anything like that. No. We've got all the time in the world. Might as well just drop it all and wait here. Comfy benches, too. We kind of look around. Only they seem to have forgotten to put me down. I should bring that up when we're in there.
Darius would just give him a look like he knows you're trying to lighten the mood at least a bit, but he isn't really in a laughing mood, so he hopes at least someone is there to humor him.
Yeah, Briff's definitely trying to be the jokester he was before all of this got started, and just failing at it. Just failing at it.
Yeah, as you're wisecracking, the door would open, and you would see seated around the table are basically the leaders of each of the different groups. You see Lex was there, you'd see Osmond was there, you'd see Dalaran was there. And they kind of look up expectantly as the door opens. They'd wait for you to enter into the room. And there would be seats seated out for you, placed out for you.
Darius would give Briff a crooked glance and goes, well, since we don't need to wait anymore, he says sort of puts his arm against the wall and sort of clambers up from his sitting position and then goes to walk inside.
Yeah, Briff would walk past him to one of the seats, and as they cross, just kind of whisper, benches would have still been nice.
You see
and just go and take a seat.
You see a faint, like the implication of a smirk just appear behind that thick beard. And he would just move to sit down next to you.
So I'm assuming you all file into the room and take a seat. The door would shut behind you, and Dalaran would kind of lean forward. Well, seeing as you were taking care of Emrin and getting him to Eris, we see it is these items as being yours. And he'd slide a letter, still sealed, a ring that's sitting on top of it, Emrin's ring, and whatever assortment of other items that Emrin was carrying, they don't know how important they are to you, onto the table. You immediately recognize the letter as being the parcel that he was carrying, given to him by Commandant Enos Martin. And all of his stuff also, obviously, you'd recognize that all being his.
I would take the letter.
They were just give a nod and sort of look that bunch of stuff over, and it isn't really important to him, but it would sort of reach over and take one of the take the dagger that Emrin was using. He lost his own, so might as well have a replacement. And he looks at the ring and sort of looks around. Sebastian received a ring, though I don't know that. And he basically goes, well, who wants it? Darius isn't much of a speaker, so he isn't really one who's inclined to take it by default.
And this is just the normal ring, by the way, so it amplifies your voice and gives you +1 to AC if you're wearing it.
Give it to Briff. He likes to hear his voice heard more than anybody.
Yeah, Briff would chuckle at that and just kind of raise his own hand. Already got one. What about you, Dovod? You be sharing with us? Might come in handy.
Dovod just looks at you and he goes, I'm all set. And he pulls out this leather thong that's hanging around his neck, and you see Ithar's ring is hanging from that. I'm not putting that shit on.
Briff would just kind of nod. Okay.
Well, Darius, looks like it's yours.
He would rub at the bridge of his nose before reaching over and taking it, like rubbing his thumb along the face of it before kind of trying to position it on the table so he could slide his finger on it, because he can't just put it on like any normal person can. Before he looks at the group that sort of gathered. So, what exactly we're going to do now? We have what we need to keep going, but how can we exactly? He says he sort of looks around to everyone. Dovod, Osmond, Lex.
Yeah, Dalaran would kind of nod and look over at Osmond and Lex to see if either of them want to say anything. And Osmond would lean forward. Well, it appears of paramount importance that that letter makes it to Viator. Whether or not the convocation will act on it is entirely up to them, though it may be important that we are aware of its contents. Should they choose to remain on their floating islands, that is.
Well, a lot of people have died for this letter. Might as well see if it's worth it. Can I actually open it up?
Yeah, you could definitely open it if you wanted to.
Or I'll open it up and pull it out.
And I have the letter in the side if you wish to read it.
Oh, wow.
A little lengthy.
You want me to read it? Give me a second here to pull out my chat.
Yeah, you can read it.
All right, so he's like, oh, great. I hate reading out loud. So, Justikar and Sanad. The walls are falling now, even as I speak. I send this letter from Glasspool, along with the bearer, Emrin Grey, to offer vital information as to what we have discovered here in the swamps of Talmor. As you are aware, since the convocation's founding, each outpost was placed near or upon a location of importance. What we originally thought were gateways, or rather connections to the bleak, are in fact tombs, or so we believe. The doorways that each tomb contained were not doorways into the bleak, but instead entrances into the ancient labyrinths, passages hidden away beneath the earth. Shortly upon discovering this, we have been attacked, and I fear it is so that the tombs can be accessed by the reclaimers, as they call themselves. Something down there reeks of danger and strange, profane, arcane power. The 2 expeditions we sent to investigate still have not returned. I send this letter with Emrin in hopes that he will find companions to aid him in arriving to you safely. As lead researcher, he knows much about what we have discovered and can explain further. I fear what might happen should he not arrive safely with this letter. The convocation must act now. Remember our founder, Ares, and his companions? They acted for the realm before anything else and are hailed as heroes. I know I must be fated to die here, but please do not forget our purpose and choose to act rather than be acted upon. Commander Inez Martin. Well, that seems rather important. Wish they maybe would have gave us a little bit of the know-how before all this.
Dalaran kind of scoffs and you say know-how before this. The Convokers don't act off of know-hows. They hardly trust anyone anymore. It's my surprise that she'd even write such a letter. Though, she did raise good points. Convocation does need to act. Though I'd be surprised if they did. And he'd look over at you, Dovod. What are your thoughts?
He just shakes his head as he's letting the words of the letter sink in. Looks around the keep. It's one of the focal points here. Tombs, I guess. If Ennis is right. I don't know. Truth be told, I never really knew. It's more acted. Thought things out. Seems to have always worked for me in the past. But we gotta get that letter to the Convokers. And he'd look at Sebastian, Darius, and Briff.
Sebastian would be looking like he wants to say something, but he's struggling. What about Fulgrim? Promised him that we would get him to White Spire, to the Sons of Preservation. He's barely hanging on. I know, in the grand scheme of things, that might not seem like much to everyone around this table, but I know it means a whole lot to me.
Osmond would look at you. Look, your friend's life matters to us. Of course it does. He is one of you, after all. But our options are not many. We need to get you past the reclamation line. They have set up a perimeter, basically surrounding any conceivable access point past Whitespire. If we're going to get you to Eris, we can't do it by flight either. Wyverns are patrolling along that entire line. And if you're spotted, you're dead. Here we had walls, people to help defend them. Out there, you'd just be a group of people on Griffinback. So we need to discuss options, ways to get you past without them seeing. If anybody has any ideas, I'm open to suggestions. There are always the burrows, but those present their own problems, their own difficulties.
I don't think underground is exactly our safest option. If we're discussing how to get there, I would save that one for last.
Yeah, I agree. Hasn't really worked out for us in the past.
We're not really from around here. You guys would know the land better than us. What do you think our best option is?
Osmond will kind of sigh and look over at Lex. You've done quite a bit of campaigning around these areas, Lex. What do you think? As terrifying as the burrow, and this is Lex speaking, as terrifying as the burrows may be, it's feasible. We do have the remnants of a map that might be able to get you through safely, come out on the other side of Whitespire, though it would take some time traveling underground, and who knows who lives down there. You could go north, circle around through Krieg, but again, that presents its own problems. Those mountain passes are not for the faint of heart, and it is the home of the stone giants themselves. You could go straight to Whitespire and hopefully pass through the city, get past the barricade, past the defensive line, that is. But Whitespire itself is controlled now. We received recent reports saying that it is controlled by the reclamation. Though Osmond did tell me that what was his name? You know him, Dovod. Him and his sister, they've been spotted in the city. Perhaps they could help. We could go try and fly through, though I'm not certain how well that would work. And she'd look over at Dialrand. Those are some of the options. Do you have any ideas, you four? Any way that we could get you through? We're here to help if we can.
Are they letting anyone through at all? Or is it completely locked down?
Well, they're checking everybody thoroughly, I might say. If you were to try and get through, I'm sure they have descriptions of it. If not you, then at least Dovod. If you're carrying rings with you, they'll know immediately. If you're wearing that clothing, they'll know immediately. They're checking everyone who goes through the city, in and out.
And there is no one that is fighting this. The Reclaimers march through these lands and take over cities, and no one has done nothing.
I have heard rumor that there are pockets of the Talmor Guard fighting back within the city, guerrilla tactics, though they're losing. I have heard that up in the north in Krieg, that outpost of the Convocation still stands, though getting there would be difficult. And of course, if you were to try and fly through, we may help you if we can. The burrows, I'm sure the reclamation hasn't gone down there, though there are burrow goblins and other creatures that might harry your passage. As you can see, every option presents its issues and suggests and has its pros as well.
Darius would think on that, and after perhaps a minute or two of just silent contemplation, he would speak aloud and go, as much as all these options seem appealing, I think either the burrows or the Krieg Pass would be our more likely options. There are dangers, certainly, but we've been through danger before. And at this point, running in headfirst is hardly gonna get us anywhere.
Can't say I'm itching to go back underground, but also can't say I'm itching to storm into Stone Giant territory. Whatever you guys think is best.
Dovod is kind of pacing back and forth, kind of looking down at the floor, the tiles on it.
Briff is kind of be mumbling different ideas to himself and nodding his head no. No, that wouldn't work. Then look up. Would you be willing to cause some sort of distraction? They know we're here in Talmor. But is it possible you could draw their attention away while we sneak into Krieg without them knowing that that's where we are? Make them think we're somewhere else. We might have an easier time just looping around that way.
We could try and distract them, but again, there's no guarantee that they'll even try and engage our harrying force. I don't know. Passing through Krieg, like I said, has its own issues. The stone giants are there. That is their home base. That is where they are strongest. Those stones are ancient and they speak to them. We could try, if that's what you wish.
I don't want anyone else to die for us. Them causing a distraction is just putting their lives in danger. Although it troubles me to think that the Talmor Guard fight alone with no support. Their guerrilla tactics are probably stronger than they think. They might just need more help. And with help comes morale, and that might just be enough to get us through and let the people know that not everyone is going to stand here and let the reclaimers take what they want. I know going head on is stupid, but I think that's what we should do.
Dovod stops pacing and he turns facing Sebastian. The lad's right. Straight in is what I say. I know this boy, his sister, Errol, wizard of some repute. Osmond says that he's with the Talmor Guard. Sister's not with him. Don't know where she is. But I won't have any more people, lives lost. No, I think we just go. We don't have time to go through no burrows, tangle with no giants. We'll have to do our best to not be seen.
Osmond would kind of be nodding at this. He's obviously agreeing with you all. Lex would kind of be like thinking, and Dialrand, he doesn't look like he's questioning your guys' decision, but he doesn't fully support it either. He's afraid of what might happen if you were to fall into their hands. But he speaks up first. If that is what you wish, then we will do what you say. We can get you as close as a day's journey. We can drop you off there on Griffinback. Once you're there, getting to the city is up to you. Though, if you will need to be clever to hide your rings and your other symbols of the convocation to get into the city. Perhaps Osmond has some contacts, and you look over at Osmond, who would nod. Yeah, I can get you in. It won't be easy, but I can pull some strings. And he would look back at you, Valorand. We can get you in then, it seems. If you do manage to sway the Talmor Guard to our side and aid them in liberating the city, I have heard that the Bog Queen still sits upon the throne. Perhaps she can rally the rest of the soldiers throughout the countryside to our aid. If you were to liberate our city, that is. It'll be difficult to meet with her, though, and I'm sure Osmond has contacts who could set you up. If you are successful, and you do manage to sway the city, then travel due west until you arrive at the Shattered Pass. There, we can get you the means you need to get the rest of the way to Viator, to Eris, and the complication. We have Grey Wings on the other side of the wall who can aid you.
What do you say, Darius? You've seen more?
Obviously, this isn't exactly the best of conditions, but I think it's well worth the risk. A calculated risk is better than a foolhardy one.
Well, sounds like fun to me. Why not?
We could die. That's a plenty good reason.
Briefly kind of look at him sideways. It's kind of what we do, though, isn't it?
That's what I do.
Good point. We'll throw you in first.
Don't you do that already?
Yeah, that last joke would definitely come off wittier than intended. It was definitely a joke, but yeah.
He just sort of tried to humor you, like going, don't you do that already? But, it doesn't really come out right, so it just kind of comes off as awkward.
Dalaran would look at the four of you. So are you all in agreement then? You're going to go to Whitespire.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe bring Fulgrim. At least then he'll have a chance.
We'll need to hide him also.
Dalaran would nod. Very well. I shall begin to make the necessary preparations, and I'll send word to several of my men to prepare a wagon or a carriage of some sort that you can take into the city, appear like refugees, I suppose. Does that work for you all?
Is there anything you can help us to disguise ourselves further? Maybe we can use Fulgrim as an excuse here. He's a sick traveler. If we get caught, they don't really know much about him, right? Because he's been kind of sick since the Dredgeways.
He would nod. Perhaps that could work. Osmond might be able to help set you up with something as well. Maybe a couple of men to help shore up your case.
Maybe get us a shave, maybe some hair dye.
I'll see what we can do. We'll bring you some spare clothing, some changes of clothing as well. Change your look, change your outfit. Maybe something to put in your hair, like you said. I'll have it prepared, though. But before you go, before we start making preparations, I have gifts for you, things that I would like you to take, perhaps increase your chances of making it. And you'd kind of stand up and walk back to a chest, kind of back against the wall. And he'd say, Darius. And he'd kind of call you over to him. And he would look at you. A warrior such as yourself needs both arms. And as such, I have this. And he would pull out a vial. It's kind of like a darkish bluish gray. He would uncork it and offer it to you. You would not know what it was, but Sebastian, you would immediately know what it was. It's called a Reviver's Vial. And what it does is it basically completely restores the body. Like utterly and completely. So he offers it to you to drink.
I look at the vial for a few long moments and look down at myself, look down at the arm. And I hesitate a bit and I go, Does it regenerate broken bones, might I ask?
Just drink it.
As far as I'm aware, I believe so, yes.
Well, half of my bones aren't bones, so that's what I'm worried about.
Well, if it is of the dwarven craft, then they place sigils on them to give them life. I'm sure that it would still affect those, or I believe it should.
Well, here goes nothing. I down the vial.
So you immediately, all of your lingering injuries are gone. Function of your arm returns. Your body actually feels healthier, like better than it was. So you got +1 to con. So what was your con before?
My constitution before was 50.
So it goes up to 16 now.
Nice.
And he just kind of like watches as your arm basically floods with life again, and you're able to move it.
That feels good. And just moving it, just several like cracks as the joints that he hasn't been moving just sort of just reawaken.
Yeah. And I almost imagine your arm is like mildly atrophied from not being moved for so long, but your muscles like bulk back up and like they're normal again.
Yeah, so like he still can't really move it too well, but it's like just feeling has returned, and that's just very good in his eyes.
Yeah, definitely. And he would kind of nod to you and pull out one more of these Reviver's vials, and he'd offer it to you for your travels, should one of you need it.
I nod at that and take the second vial.
So basically what the vial does when it's drank, or when somebody drinks it, it removes all lingering injuries, it brings them all the way back to full HP, and it gives them a +1 to con. So it's called the Reviver's Vial. And he would kind of nod to you and let you go back to your seat. And he would call to Briff next. Say, Briff.
Briff would walk up, unsure if he should fake a limp. He's still not feeling perfect himself or not, so he kind of begins to, and he just like nods his head, nah, not going to do that, and walks normal the rest of the way.
And he would look at you. You wield short swords, yes?
Long swords.
Oh, long swords, okay. So he'd reach down into the chest and he'd pull out a long sword. And you see that in the pommel of the sword is a little blue gem that crackles and sparks with electricity. And he'd slowly extend it towards you. We've had this in our care for some time now. It was wielded by one of the first Grey Wings, a remnant of old Kazrin. They called them lightning blades. And so I bequeath this one to you. So it is basically a longsword that does, it's a +1 magical longsword that does 1d8 plus 1d6 lightning damage when you hit with it.
Briff would put out a nice, good whistle as he reaches out one hand and kind of rubs the pommel there, seeing if it sparks hemming or if it's just kind of a visual thing before sticking out his other hand and grabbing it, nodding his head. Thank you. It'll be put to great use.
And he would nod to you and let you go back and take your seat. Sebastian.
I would cautiously walk up.
And Sebastian, it's 1d6. And Sebastian would, and Dialran would look at you. Sebastian, I see in you a potential for greatness as a leader. You show motivation, courage, but you're still working towards it. As such, you'd kind of reach down into the case, and he'd pull out what looked like a small brooch, like something you'd tie your cloak together with. I wanted to offer you this. And the cloak itself is the convocation symbol. It's a blade with wings. This is known as Eris's pendant. He wore it himself in his fight against Kazran. I wanted to give it to you, to remind you that no matter what, you must always strive first to be a leader before you become a warrior. So basically, what this pendant does is it gives you a permanent, while you're wearing it, +1, +2 to wisdom, and advantage on all wisdom checks and saves.
Sebastian would look shocked, I guess. He's been reading about Eris through the Acts of Eris, the book that Ithar gave him. And just what a brave and respected leader and hero and warrior that guy was. He's confused at why all these people keep saying that they see things in him, but he's tired of not believing them, so he's going to give it a chance to see if he can see that. And he would take the cloak and the pendant and kind of wrap it around him, put it on, see how it fits, and then just thank him. I'll try to do half of what its previous owner accomplished. And if I can, I'll still be a successful person, live a successful life. Thank you.
And he would nod to you and look to Dovod and kind of wave you up.
Dovod would approach.
And he would say, Dovod, I was told by Ithar the promise you made. And these need you as a defender. As such, I wished to offer you this. And he would reach into the bag, not the bag, the chest, and he'd pull out these two, a pair of kind of gloves. They look like they're made of this kind of very thin, blackish metal. You see, they are definitely of the craftsmanship of the dwarves of Stone Rift. Kind of a crackling power kind of coursing through them. You see, as he offers them to you, that the material that makes them, if they feel more like gloves than gauntlets, but it's definitely metal. This is a fine artifact of the Rift. The first dwarves, slaves of Kazran that arrived there. This was one of the first things they created, harnessing the storm there. They will strengthen you, make you into a force as powerful as thunder. And you, being a Stone Rift dwarf, would immediately know what these were. They're called the Gauntlets of Thunder, or Frondor's Gauntlets, is what they've been called in the past. While you are wearing them, your strength becomes 19.
Dovod would, before he even announces what they are, he knows. He would look up, and for the first time, he would show an emotion that isn't like disdain or sadness. The first time in days, anyways. And he would say, "Is that truly King's gift? I've only heard of these in legend. Did not know any of these existed anymore. Would gladly take them, and you put them to good service." And he would just give him a big smile that just parts his, showing all of his teeth.
And he would put a hand on your shoulder, Dovod. I appreciate the trust that you've placed in us in becoming our allies, Dovod. And I promise you that in your absence, the Vipers will be taken care of, that we will help in watching over them, whoever you choose to take your place while you're gone. We will take care of your brothers and sisters.
Well, just don't lose what so many died protecting.
You would nod and smile. We know of how important this keep is. A strategic location. We will help in maintaining it, I promise. And he would look back to the four of you. I will leave you to make preparations. You leave within the next few hours if you can. Osmond, will make preparations as well. He should have them ready for you by the time you leave. Fly on swift wings, brothers. Be safe. And that is where we'll take a quick break. Everybody go ahead and run to the bathroom, grab a drink, be back here in, let's do 10 minutes. Take a quick 10-minute break.
All right, new gear. Exciting. Knowing my luck, though, every single time, no matter which dice I use, for that fancy new sword will be just one away from hitting. Hopefully not, but, you know. All right. Let's see how long it takes for my computer to open up the video so I can see chat. No, am I the only one watching? I think it might be me because it's pretty late here, at least. Even my cat's asleep. Whoa. That's not why I said computer. Hey, Carol.
Hey, how's it hanging?
Doing good. Just chatting with Carol, pretty much.
All right. What's Carol saying?
She says hi, and that you're a horrible excuse for a role player. No, I'm just gonna choose that last bit. Right.
Oh boy, though. This is, yeah, did not expect the loot.
I'm happy to have gotten it though.
Yeah? Kind
Yep.
of expecting to maybe like get get this weird like mech arm attached to me, but this is good too.
That would be pretty badass though.
Oh yeah. But hey, sooner I get my arm, the better. Now hopefully I don't get stray crit again and the other arm goes. Because with the way this game tends to go, I would not put it past my luck.
Oh, he's just gonna kill you now.
Oh, more than definitely.
Man, at least one of us doesn't have a lingering injury anymore.
Yep. Though you did have a few days to rest up.
I'll have to ask him if that takes care of my broken ribs.
I had to see about that.
Yeah. Let me ask him right now.
I just need to bump up my armor class, and hey, I can finally use a shield again.
That's right. Our tank can actually tank.
One might think.
Oh yay. Fine. Good. Now I have to remember to roll at disadvantage for everything. And without the disadvantage, I'll be even more likely to hit things with my fancy new sword.
No, he did just say he got magical healing, right?
Well, we got the special healing potion. But also the 3 days of resting took care of my ribs.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I will point out, Ty, because apparently you're still present enough to type in chat, that my fancy new sword has such a long name and damage thing that I had to put it below the 3 little boxes. So.
Alright, I forgot I had the... What is some of this stuff in my inventory? It's been so long since I played, I forgot half of the stuff. I apparently still have one copy of a glow vial.
Yeah, I know. I've got a greater healing potion.
This is how we roll it. I can take out my out of my notes. Now has a useless arm. I can finally remove that.
Nice. So it's still storming over there?
I think it's calmed down.
Okay.
Still pretty windy, but we aren't. I don't think the street is flooded anymore.
That's good. Yeah, we had a couple ice storms come through here last couple days. So probably it was about, a mild summer for you. I'd assume. Really, every year we only get about one good snow. And it looks like this year, instead of a good snow, is a good ice. Just everything gets an invisible layer of ice. And I can't hear you anymore. Yeah, I still can't hear you.
Final. Did your mic break?
I'm not talking.
No.
Yeah. He wasn't talking.
Who were you referring to then when you said you didn't hear anybody?
You, it looked like you were saying something.
Oh, no. I was freaking playing with my dice.
Oh, okay. Might have just been imagining things again.
Maybe.
That happens to Michael on occasion.
Make a sanity check.
Is this GIF too obnoxious?
Yes.
It is
He's-
flashing pretty brightly.
Look at it's
It's
magical
just
potion.
it's so fast. That's the. It's just.
Yeah, I know.
I would recommend maybe slowing it down if you're capable of that.
No, I'm gonna get rid of it. I was just kidding. Now I gotta figure out how to get rid of it though. Let's do that.
You know, on the upside of the ice storms we had, I didn't have to shave before going out for my local game, hobby shop here. So, you know, say I have to do that tomorrow before I go to something else, but whatever.
You certainly know how to give good gifts, Ty. Just I was kind of hoping my character would end up with like a badass mecha arm, just because.
Hey, dude, the good DM giveth and the good DM taketh away. Is that what you want?
You already took away my arm and that shouldn't do, you asshole.
I can take it away again.
Screw you! I have a second potion.
Don't tempt me. All right. Well, so in the meantime, we're gonna start pretty soon. You guys could have requisitioned any like equipment that you needed, up to like an extent. Like they don't have any, because heavy armor is really hard to come by. So anything like plate or stuff, like they don't have that. You could pretty much get a hold of any weapon you wanted, arrows, quarrels, whatever you guys would need, rations. So you guys can add that to your inventory, what you need. Anything besides like weapons and rations and stuff, just clear with me first, because they do have limited supplies.
Shield.
You could get a shield. Yeah, that'd be fine.
Don't you already have one?
I lost it in the friggin' what was it? The Quiet Keeps.
Okay.
I love the Quiet Keeps. That was fun.
Of course.
Epic chase scene. Lots of like really tense horror. It was good. Quiet Keeps were enjoyable for me to run. I like
10
that.
out of 10. I would do it again.
So any special equipment you guys want to try and get a hold of?
Let's see. Can I try and get my hands on a breastplate?
Breastplate, is that heavy armor?
That is technically medium. It's the best armor you can get while still having stealth.
Yeah, you could probably get a hold of that.
All right.
I guess I should actually look to see if there's anything I want. Give me a second here.
I have finally become Tanky Boy.
Finally. Took some time, but you got there.
Yeah.
Hit me up with that healer's kit if you down with that life.
Yeah, you could get a hold of a healer's kit. I'd say sure.
All right. Let me find that.
Let's see, what else do I want? A sword, I got a dagger. Got a
Would you hook us up with the disguise kit since we're going to be all sneaky? Or is that asking too much?
Osmond said he'd make the necessary preparations for you guys to get into the city.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Healing potions?
I'll give you guys 2 minor ones.
Okay.
Each or like for the whole entire group?
No, total. 2 minor ones total.
All right. You guys can take those ones.
That is acceptable.
Yeah. You want one, Darius, and I'll take one since we'll be the 2 of the frontliners.
Mm-hmm.
You said you don't mind if we take minor stuff? Like, can I grab some caltrops?
Yeah, you can get caltrops.
Spiky metal things you toss onto a floor.
Yeah. All right.
I'd give you like 1 bag of caltrops, so 1 use.
Cool. Yep. I'm good with that. And then rations or whatever, all the jazz that we should take.
Let's see. Let's actually look at the equipment stuff.
So, yeah, how are we splitting up those minor healing potions?
I imagine I'll take one. Though then again, I do have the full restore.
Okay, we ain't playing
Right.
Pokemon. Call it what it is, a Reviver's Vial.
Pleb. You got the reference.
Yes, of course I got the reference. Anything for you, Dovod?
Nope. He's just going to grab rations, stuff you'll need while they're journeying. You know, bedroll, mess kit.
Yeah.
Just simple stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you guys can stock up
Dovod
on
travels
rations.
light.
Yeah, you guys can stock up on any rations you guys might want or need. It'd be like pretty boring stuff though. It'd be like meal biscuits and whatever, hardtack.
Love meal biscuits.
Gotta love some of the meal biscuits. Tasty.
Actually, could I get a bag of not caltrops, but
Ball bearings?
ball bearings?
Yeah, you can get a bag for sure.
Nice.
Yo, let's mix and match our caltrops and ball bearings.
Make it doubly
Oh
difficult.
So they
my!
fall and land on caltrops. I like that.
Oh, that hurts so bad.
Wasn't there like friggin' a bag that you throw it at people to alchemist something or other? You throw it at people and they effectively counts as like restraining them if they get caught in it. Like it's this
Oh, like a
tar-
tanglefoot bag.
Tanglefoot bag.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. So toss that on them as soon as they fall.
They ain't moving. Okay, well, I'm gonna turn off the requisition in 3, 2, 1. Okay, you guys have what you have now. That's what you're able to get. Let's go ahead and do character and channel intros. You can plug what you want to. We'll start with Chris Villanueva and end with Lionel. So just go left to right, or I guess my left to right. I don't know how it looks on your guys' screens.
What's up, my dudes and dudettes? I'm playing Sebastian Williker, the artificer / warlock / pendant of Eris wearer / cool guy. My channel is the RP Ginger. I run a lot of Wizards of the Coast modules. So if that kind of stuff interests you, check out my Storm King's Thunder campaign. And hopefully you are enjoying this session / campaign, because Ty is doing a great job running it and everyone's doing a great job playing in it. I'm gonna pass it on over to Lionel. I don't know if that's who I'm supposed to, but I did it anyways.
Man, Chris, already breaking the rules, man.
I'll pass it to who I want.
Hey guys, I am Lionel and I am playing Dovod Craghelm, who is the leader of Dovod's Vipers, which is a mercenary band, and Freedom Fighters, I guess now. And he's just a grouchy dwarf who got kicked out of Stone Rift, and he's just still angry about that. And I run a YouTube channel by the name of Two Guys Tea and D&D with a guy named Harry Pollitt. And right now, if you're bored and you want to check out some adventures in Middle Earth, I'm running a campaign in that setting on my channel.
Since Chris effed everything up, we'll pass it on to the next Chris and then go on to end with Michael.
Okay, so I'm playing. I'm playing Darius Stonebone, aka Darius Corin, a Battlemaster fighter who is, he's been through some stuff, lots and lots of stuff, and just got his arm back. That's nice after 6 sessions of not having it, so that'll be fun. And I got no channel to plug. I'm just a guy who's enthusiastic about RPGs, and pass it over to Michael.
Same boat here as Darius, to not confuse Chris's. No channel to plug, but I guess I might as well. We're actually playing in the setting for a different YouTuber, Matt Click from Fistful of Dice, who's one of the guys over at Absolute Tabletop, a small RPG publisher, indie publisher. So maybe go and check that out. Figured one of us might as well give a shout out to the person who made this setting. And I'm playing Briff Shig, kind of the jokester of the group, or at least he was before shit hit the fan. Thanks for that. So, nothing much else. Just kind of rambling at this point. Not sure if anyone's going to kick me off or anything. So,
all right, I'm going to step in here and speak up. So, Rambler, calm down. As always, if you're tuning in and watching this, it's on my channel. I'm DM Ty from the channel On a Roll. That's ROLE, like roleplay. And this is a great group. I'm super excited to keep going with these guys. I love the consistency of playing at least once a month. And let me see, what am I going to plug? Let's go ahead and plug one of my good buddies. His name is Jeff Doty. He runs a channel called Counterbalance. Lots of good stuff over there. Go check him out. Currently, he's running a campaign in his homebrew setting called The Alchemists, I believe. But he runs lots of good stuff. And he's been on my channel quite a few times in some games. So if you like him in those games, go check out his channel. He's got a lot of good stuff over there. And so we're going to go ahead and get started right back into it. You guys stand in the courtyard. Osmond is directly near you, relaying instructions about what you're supposed to do to get into the city. He's speaking generally to all of you, but he's looking directly at you, Dovod. When the Grey Wings put you down, they're going to put you down about a day's journey to Whitespire, okay? You're going to follow the road, the main road, for maybe a couple of hours. From where they drop you, it should be about 4 or 5, maybe 6. You're going to come upon a town. It's destroyed. That is all right. It's called Craddock, or it used to be called Craddock. Within, there's going to be a beggar by the name of Vasher. He is a blonde man. Probably, he looks at you, Sebastian, a little bit shorter than you, less wiry. He's going to be very dirty, unkempt. He is going to have your way of getting into the city. You find him, you speak with him, and he will give you your ticket, essentially in. We are going to send a small squadron to fly you out there. 10 Grey Wings, small enough to move quickly yet large enough to be defended if it should come to that. When you are dropped off, there will be a small wagon in a copse of trees just off the road. Within there is a wagon. That is what you will be taking Fulgrim in, and hopefully will be your ticket into getting into the city without any problems. Is that clear?
Crystal.
He would just nod and he looked down at you, Dovod. He kind of put a hand on your shoulder. Look, be safe, friend, okay? I can't lose one of my best contacts.
You know me, Osmond. I never take chances.
We both know that is a lie. And he kind of just smiled at you. And he leaned down as if he was going to give you a hug. And he whispers in your ear, "Did you get my note and book?"
I
don't know which one of those three is the spy. But watch your back. The way I hear it, the Black King is moving. And it isn't going to be pretty. And he'd stand back up and look down at you and give you a wink and turn and walk away, leaving the four of you alone. You have maybe 10, 20 minutes before you have to take off. You see the Grey Wings getting their mounts ready. Blizzard's waiting there for you, Dovod.
So now that it's been a couple days that's passed since everything's went down, we've had the funeral. Everyone's had time to, I guess, relatively wind down. Sebastian hasn't really been much for speaking up until these moments. And to be honest, he hasn't looked Dovod in the eyes since that time on the bridge. As we're preparing to set out, I imagine we kind of get the room to ourselves for a moment to kind of collect ourselves and talk anything out. I unbuckle the pendant that I was just recently given and I drop it to the ground. I take my bag of holding and I put it on the ground. And then I walk up to Dovod and I clear my throat. Waiting for him to make eye contact with me.
Yeah, he would look up at you and say, "You got something to say?"
All right. Let's just get this over with. Do it. Don't hold back.
Don't.
If we're going to travel together, I want to square this up. You and I both know what we're talking about. So much more beyond that. Since you've met up with us, I've costed you a lot. So don't hold back. Let's square this up right now.
Lad, I don't know what kind of game you're playing. We got too much on the line to be playing these sorts of foolish, I don't want to say it again, games, because that sounds really, really stupid. But he starts to turn. He goes, "Besides, what do you expect me to do? Something like this?" And he punches you square as hard as he can, right up between your legs. There. As you I imagine you're like,
yep, sucking in air.
And he goes, "There, you feel better now? I know I do. Now let's go." And he would help you kind of get back up. He goes, hop on your feet like this.
He does, and takes a moment, and then he says, "That was for your friends in the Dredgeways. Now, for Tagnus. Again, hit me." Please.
You're not right in the head, boy. And he just walks off towards Blizzard.
I bet while this is going on, Roof would kind of gone up to Darius. It's like, I noticed you play a lot of chess. Maybe you teach me sometime? I mean, I've played some, but probably don't hold a candle to you.
He give you kind of this odd look as you mentioned chess, but sort of when you elaborate, he goes, "Oh, sure, it's easy to get a handle of the rules as long as you listen." But knowing what to do with the rules and within the limits of what you're able to do is sort of the key to victory. Knowing what your opponent can do and what you can do, and then planning based on that. That's why. He starts a thought, but then kind of doesn't finish it, and he kind of just gives you a nod. He'll teach you sometime, sure.
So then, if Dovod walks away, he would just call out, like, are we even now?
Yeah, we're even. Now get your head on straight.
My head on straight. Tell me something then, all of you. If you're going to travel with me, need to clear some airwaves here. A lot has happened to all of us. But our friend Ithar, she gave me something. She gave me this ring. She told me that she sees something in me and that I deserve to wear this. But I'm not so sure. You see, and I pull out the necklace, the locket that I got. This did something to me. It opened something up. I see things and I'm terrified of them. But I'm not terrified of what I see. Terrified of the powers it's given me and how I've never wanted anything more than just to have more of it. Ithar believed in me and thought that I deserved to wear this ring. But I'm afraid of more than anything than if I put it on and I don't live up to those expectations of hers. So all of you, tell me what you think. Do I deserve this? I also should tell you that I did try to kill Dovod at the bridge there. Wasn't in my right mind. Something came over me. I didn't mean it. Now that I think about it, but I wanted you dead. I wanted you to feel my power. And I'm afraid that I don't feel guilty wanting that power. I just want it.
Darius, I imagine, would sort of walk over and sort of set a hand on your shoulder and look you in the eye. And he goes, "A man can be prepared for war. A captain can give a recruit a sword and a shield and expect them to fight, but he can't make them fight. You said it gave you that power, and it may seem like you need to use it, but you don't. Do what you think is right and don't do anything else." He says, he sort of sets a hand on a sword, have lived like this for years. That's the only thing I know, and I regret every second of it. You don't need to go down that path. So tell whatever gave you that power to fuck right off.
I kind of already did. It's an entity. For some reason, even though I can never fully make out who or what he is, its name sounds so familiar. Alazvesh. That ring a bell to anybody. He taunts me. He says I'm weak. He says I'm nothing without him. Sometimes I believe him. Sometimes I'd like nothing more than to just prove him wrong.
And what do you feel right now?
I feel like a lot of my friends died. And this power didn't stop any of that.
And that proves more than anything it can say. You, he says, he sort of pokes you in the chest. You have the power to make a difference, and I am. And I will sooner die than see you squander that.
Thank you, Darius. What say you, Briff?
Well, I say don't listen to this. Whatever you said the name was of your amulet, because I'm sure it's definitely talking to you. It's textbook. Whispers in your ear, tells you aren't good enough. Makes you question yourself. Don't. It's trying to toy with you and manipulate you. Block it out. Or if anything, believe the opposite. There's always a reason, always a motive behind those kinds of words.
Nods his head. And you, Dovod? I know Ithar meant a lot more to you than even I. Do you think this ring she gave me is something I deserve to wear on my finger? Knowing what I've done and who I am.
Dovod is over holding the reins to Blizzard. His other hand is just stroking the sleek feathers that run along her neck. He doesn't look at you, but he says it. He speaks loud enough so you can hear. He said, "Well, why do you keep it?"
The amulet?
Yeah.
Oh.
Why do you keep it?
Lets me do a really cool spell once a day. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I feel
Metawise it.
I don't know. Something about it. I feel that if I just run away from what this entity has given to me, then I'm just a coward like I am. He's given me power, but I don't think that makes me who I am, and I don't think he can take it from me or really control anything about me. That's why he tries to insult me and say that I need him. I feel that if I get rid of this amulet, then I'm just running away from another entity, another force that I don't want to face. I'm tired of running. Just like when we head into White Spire, I want to take on whatever this is head on. And I know that if you guys all support me, then I know that I'll be able to do it. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, it's crazy. And he turns and faces you now. You know, there's that little bit of distance separating us. And Dovod says, as long as you judge yourself based on the things you wear, You'll never find out who you are. One of the problems with the Convokers, those stupid rings. All the other shit they use. You don't really know who they are. Talk about them. That's what people think of. They don't know who the real men and women are. Who are you, Sebastian? If Ithar thought you were good enough to wear that ring, then you are. Only you can make it so you're not. You decide.
I will.
And get rid of the damn amulet. And he would
That's so cool.
he would very awkwardly, after saying that, he would like get up, try to get up on Blizzard and fall down, like get decked down because he's just not very good at getting up.
He smiles then and he says, well, if you refuse to hit me, then do one thing for me. He'll take the amulet off and lay it on the ground. Stand with me now. Help me overcome this. If you believe that I don't need this, then I can believe it.
Taking the opportunity to walk away from Blizzard and his rather embarrassing attempts to try to get up on to her back, Dovod walks over. And he'll look down at the amulet, and then he'll look at Sebastian and the other, and Sebastian's other companions.
All of you help me. Together, I feel like this could signify something. If you don't think I need this amulet, help destroy it with me. Whoever this Vesh is can learn that he holds nothing over me. Come on, guys, don't leave me hanging. I'm trying to give a cool speech here.
Darius looks at the amulet for a good few moments before he reaches down. A downward grip and just stabs that into the gem.
So go ahead and make me an attack.
That would be a natural 20.
Okay, go ahead and give me your damage.
Damn,
So
son.
roll D8, double it, and then we'll roll D8, add modifier, and double.
Alrighty. That would be a 16.
16
Actually,
damage?
no, I dual-handed it, so wait, I rolled the wrong dice.
Oh, this would be a D10 then.
Yeah. That is significantly worse, but okay. 10.
You slam your longsword down on top of this gem. Sebastian, you feel like you're being stabbed through the chest as this longsword slams into it with a flash of light and bounces off.
Just like
Sebastian, you take 10 points of damage.
Perfect.
You hear a chuckling in your head. Nothing. You think I hold nothing over you, Sebastian. We are bound. You made a pact if you do not remember.
At seeing his reaction to Darius, Griff would, run a bit closer. He was counting around with them. Like, what was it? What this Allah do to you?
To me, sorry, I thought you said Darius for some reason. I'd be like clutching my chest where I imagine my heart is and just like breathing in pain, drop down to the ground. Just say, he's taunting me. He's in my head. It hurts. He says that we're connected.
Dovod would kind of squint his eyes and level them at you, Sebastian, and say, "What did you do, boy?"
Drop down to like basically kind of like kneeling, and then hands breathing out heavily. I told him that I would do anything to help save my friends. I'd look up again, make eye contact with you. I told them I would do anything.
Cursed yourself. And he would look at the amulet, and then he would look at Darius and Briff, and he'd say it again. He's cursed himself. Bound himself to that thing. Can't destroy it. If we can find... Oh my gosh, what's his name?
Yeah, good luck.
No. Yes, thank you, Ty. Geez, which one is it? Errol. If we could find Errol in Whitespire, he might know how we can sever your connection to that thing. Don't use the magic.
As he's saying this to you, Sebastian, in your head you hear, "But the magic feels so good, doesn't it, Sebastian? The power. Imagine what strength I could give to you. Imagine what you could become. You admire this dwarf before you, don't you? But you could be stronger than even him. You could be stronger than all of them."
Just like start screaming, holding my ears like, "No! Get out! Get out!"
Just hear Sebastian. Sebastian. You will see things my way eventually. And then the voice quits, goes silent.
I just kind of scream, "Get out." I don't even realize it's gone. And I don't hear the voice of Dovod or Darius or Briff anymore. All I hear is his laughter. A couple moments pass. I look up to see them looking at me, probably in a little bit of surprise. This is what I meant when I said I don't know if I deserve to be seen as what Ithar and everyone else thinks I am. But please help me stop it.
You just hear the tickle of a whisper in your ear. You don't.
You'd see this softened look on Dovod's face. Probably something you've not seen in the time that you've known him. And he goes, "We'll do what we can, boy. We'll do what we can." And Ty, just real quick, if Dovod sees any more inkling that like there's this voices happening in Sebastian's head, he's gonna do something, but otherwise he won't.
Yeah, all you get, the last thing you hear, Sebastian, before the voice goes completely silent, is "you don't," is that you don't deserve it. Other than that, the voice goes quiet. And the amulet, golden with the red ruby eye in the center, catches the lasting vestiges of day, splaying off of it in radiant light. Too beautiful for such an evil item.
I would scoop it back up, kind of defeated, thinking that I was going to so easily break that bond.
The moment it comes in contact with your skin, you feel like a huge weight has just been lifted off your shoulders. You didn't realize when you took it off at first how much of a weight was added once it was taken away from you. But once you pick it back up, it just feels like you're 10 times lighter. You feel so much better.
And when I do pick it up, I feel that, and I feel stronger. And in my head, I call out to him again and say, I will use this power to destroy you. I'll be stronger than Dovod, but most of all, I'll be stronger than you. I'm coming for you.
And what's most terrifying is that you don't get a response. Almost as if your threat means nothing to this creature. Whatever it is. It is above even answering this jab you try to make at it. And instead you just get silence.
In my head, I'm trying to rationalize that he's actually afraid, but I know that he's not.
Yeah, you poop yourself a little, nothing happens. But anyways, you see the Grey Wings. They're like staring at you guys now because you've just been like screaming, Sebastian, at nothing. So they're just like waiting for you guys to double mount up with them.
Oh, sorry, that was just a pre-adventure hype up.
Does he need to roll persuasion?
It's a routine we have.
No, they absolutely don't believe him at all.
I'm not with him. I just kind of met him during the fighting. So which one of you am I with?
It looks like you can just choose whichever one you want. Yeah, they're kind of just waiting.
I'll go with one of the riders that's like that starts off closest to Dovod. Just basically just keep him close.
Well, Dovod, looks like you have room for one more on there.
And he would just nod, doesn't say anything.
Jump on.
Okay. I'm just going to say you guys all find a mount. You guys all mount up. And I want you guys to explain to me, you three, Dovod's already had this experience, what it feels like to take off for the first time, to take it to the sky.
Briff at first is, kind of scared to know what to think, so he closes his eyes, and the wind begins to brush through his hair, and he feels free, like he's running, and really great. And so he opens them, looks down, and sees that they're already way up in the air, and what was once the battlefield is now slowly shrinking away. So he closes his eyes again. It's like, nope, going back to just feeling the wind in my hair.
Darius, I imagine, as he sort of takes off, that feels that sudden rush of like weightlessness, like gravity just stops for a second, and as he sort of sets off, he just looks down and see the ground going away, and he'd feel like a tightness in his chest as he just remembers both his encounters with giants thus far, where he has been punted and thrown like a rag doll, and he just kind of tries to keep his breath steady, but he is very much nervous as he has had no good experiences with being up in the air.
So for Sebastian, he's always dreamed of riding on the griffins through the skies. It's been the one thing that he kind of always was interested in when it became time to think about becoming a convoker. And now he thinks of like how silly that seems with the circumstances of how he's riding out. But to him, it's still a symbol as he parts the forest and up into the sky and sees the horizons from every different directions, the mountains in the north. And to him, it's a symbol for the first time that he's not running away from something. He's in the sky where anyone can see, and he's heading right in to his enemies, right towards the reclamation. He was open and forthright with what is going on with the demons inside of him and Alavesh to his friends, and they still stand behind him. For some reason, they still see something in Sebastian, even though he's afraid, and he knows that this bond he made with the creature from the bleak is not good. For the first time, he knows he's heading on. He's taking it on straight. He's heading straight on into it. He's not running away. That feels good.
I believe you all realize that in a strange way, this is a turning point. You've spent the last weeks running constantly, trying to stay ahead of the enemy. And now you're going to them. Now you're doing what you felt like you're supposed to have been doing all along. And as you soar through the sky, for the first time, feeling what it should be like to be a convoker, feeling alive, seeing what you missed out on when hatching day was overrun. For the first time ever, you feel free. And the journey that should have felt like hours instead feels like minutes, whether it be from fear and keeping your eyes shut, or from the butterflies and giddiness of being so high up and seeing everything from a new perspective. And before you know it, you're streaking down towards the ground, night beginning to fall. The griffins all land very close to the copse of trees, the little grove off to the side. You see the wagon hidden within. They let you off. And as they prepare to take off, is there anything that you all want to do?
So Dovod would just, he doesn't even know if this griffin can understand anything. He's saying, oh, actually, I guess he can talk with beasts as part of his ability, but he's not going to do that. He just says to Blizzard, says, all right, girl, I got to go with these guys, so don't get into too much trouble. And then he looks at with the nearest gray wing to him and he says, you take good care of her.
The gray wing just nods, and Blizzard looks at you with this look like, me not get into trouble? Ithar's told me stories.
Devod's just going to pretend like he doesn't see that look from her and just give her a very gentle pat on her neck.
And she would lean, like preen a couple feathers, lean down and kind of like tap you in the shoulder with her head before turning with the rest of the gray wings and taking off after them. Her kind of blue silvery coat, like reflecting the last lights of day. And you're left standing on the side of the road. You can see the wagon just off in the trees. Fulgrim, the unmounted Fulgrim, obviously with you as well.
All right, boys. Oh, I'm sorry, Sebastian. Were you going to say something?
No, all you.
Are you sure?
Absolutely.
Sounded like you were going to say something there.
Well, you know, they did give me like the pendant and said that I was like leadership, so I was trying something out here. But no, you're something better. You got this.
New day. You go. I'm gonna try this out.
Oh, okay, I was just gonna say that we should get Fulgrim to the Sons of Preservation, but kind of feels weird now that we had this whole exchange.
It just gives a shrug and goes to pick him up for the first time, actually being able to do that on his own, or for the first time in a while. It just kind of strains under the weight. He's still a dwarf, but he slowly carries it over to the cart.
You know what scares you the most? Is he does not weigh nearly as much as he should. His body is emaciated. Just thin. All he's been able to do is eat broth, really. His eyes are gummed shut. You see that from this wound, this bite mark on his arm is just infected, just nasty. His skin is so pale that you can see the veins beneath it. His hair has started to fall out from his beard and his head. He does not look good at all.
Probably because you're feeding him broth. Need to give that guy some whiskey.
It just gives a sullen nod as he walks away and sort of sets him down in the back of the cart. And glances over at all you and sort of inclines his head. You're coming.
Let's get him to the Preservation, the Sons of Preservation, and then let's get through the Reclaimers.
As everyone's kind of loading up the car, Burfield look at him. Isn't there someone we should be meeting with?
Vasher.
Before you head straight to the town?
Oh, that's a good point. I was going to say that, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah. So
this is not Dovod. This is me. I think we're meeting him in the town. I think we're gonna load up in this wagon and then we're supposed to.
We're heading to
Okay.
Yeah, we go to the wagon, couple of hours, and then we get to the town.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I heard it the other way around, where that's just outside the town, but yeah. Either way, still got that game plan.
Let's do it.
Yeah, it's one of those wagons. It's one of those wagons also, like in the very tutorial of Skyrim, where like there's like the space in the center and like the benches on the side that you can sit on, and a place for somebody to lead, like the cart in the front. So the one person basically steers the wagon while you lay Fulgrim down in the back, and everyone else sits on the benches or walks alongside. There are 2 horses tied up to a tree, by the way.
Can I drive? Sebastian says.
I'll ride on the wagon with Sebastian and Fulgrim. You 2 grab those horses.
Darius goes and does. Glancing over to Sebastian, he does so, and he goes, I wouldn't know, but I've been told part of being a leader is knowing when others know better than you and learning to trust their decisions. So don't take it to heart.
Oh, it'll take a lot more than that to get to my heart. Just kind of laughs. You're forgetting that I used to run and be a coward for most of my life. This is all kind of new here, so I'll take it in stride.
Good. He says he slaps on the helmet to his full plate, and he hasn't worn it for a while because it's been just so stuffy. But right now, he kind of needs the part that covers his face, and unties the horses and sets them up in front of the cart. Do I need to make an animal handling, or are they just
no? They're pretty tame. It's very tame, so you can strap them up pretty easily.
All right.
Okay, you guys are all strapped up, ready to go. So as you guys set off on the road, the first thing that strikes you is very interesting. Stands out to you who have been in Talmor or along these roads very often. So specifically Dovod. is that this road, which is like the main like thoroughfare to get to the main highway, basically to get to Whitespire, is empty. Like this is like the street that like farmers would take to market, or that different merchants would travel along with their wares, or that people would walk along, wandering travelers and minstrels and bards and whatnot, traveling troops and bands. The road's empty completely. And as you guys crest the top of a hill, you see the burned and crumbling remains of a caravan.
Would Darius notice anything in particular about the caravan? Is there like anything of particular note other than just being burned and ruined?
You'd have to roll investigation to check out the caravan to learn anything about what might have happened here. There are scorched bodies, though, which is what you'd see immediately as well.
All right. Darius glances to Sebastian and goes, "If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to check that out for a moment." Again,
Absolutely.
sort of leaving the decision up to him.
Yeah, I'd kind of try to steer the horses over there, park them.
All right. I go investigate.
While he goes to investigate, Sebastian, roll me animal handling as the horses start to spook from the smell of blood and death.
No, let me show you how to handle these animals, Ty.
Oh, good. You show me.
Yikes. I rolled an 8.
An 8? Okay, they start to like spook and like stamp their hooves and whinny and neigh. And they're making a lot of sound.
Dovod, I think they're scared.
Yeah, don't. And he's trying to tell him not to bring him any closer to the dead people, horses, and burnt out wagons. Dovod will try to calm the horses.
That would be another animal handling check.
Okay. Nat 20.
No way. Okay. Yeah, you calm the horses down. How do you calm them down? You calm them down so perfectly that they just stand serenely and quietly.
He just jumps really quick down off of the wagon, and he does. If you've ever watched a Western movie, when the wagon or the coach is always the horses are starting to get stirred up, he just goes up to the front. He just grabs both of the bits on either side of the horses' mouths, and he just whispers. He says, "All right, it's okay, it's all right." And he calms them down that way, and it would seem that he almost is just naturally good. I mean, you would think of like all the the large boars that many of his riders rode, and he just seems to have this natural way around animals.
With a nat 20 also, as you hop off and like kind of come around to the front, you're like, calm down, calm down. You'll see something that you wouldn't have seen if you hadn't gotten off. The cobblestone road here, there are places where they had to use different stones, so there's like black, like spots where it's black instead of gray, but here the stones are scorched in a line along the road as if something burned it. Chris, with a nat 18, as you're kind of digging through this rubble and walking among these burning caravans and merchant wagons, you find a man, a person, something, who is more charred than anything else, as if he was doused in fire. His armor has melted to his skin. His skin is a cracked and charred and broken mess. What was once a man is now burnt to a crispy rotisserie style skin. And as you look around, looking at the different wagons around you and the bodies and the horses, you see that they had once been arranged in a circle, as if whatever came at night. And the burn patterns on the wagons show that they were burned from the top down rather than from the sides or from the wagon bed itself, as if something attacked it from above.
I try to sort of picture it in my head, like I sort of placed, I sort of like make note of every single wagon where I think they started from in that circle, and kind of look up and just imagine how big of a blast or plume of fire you would need to envelop or just destroy all of them at once. And I just shake my head at that and go, something big caused this. And he's not going to say what he suspects because there haven't been any. He hasn't heard of any live dragons in Aeronaut for decades. There was that one dragon that the Provoker supposedly fought, but other than that.
And they were burned one at a time, by the way. You see some of the wagons kind of started to move to try and get away. They're like varying distances from each other as they were burned.
Okay. Something took them all one at a time. This one was burned here, as I point to the one wreckage that we stopped at, and then sort of dotted around the road. There are the others that just got scorched, just procedurally just destroyed. Anybody know what might cause this, realistically speaking?
I can make a check if Tao will allow it, but an 18 is pretty good.
I'd allow nature.
Nature? Okay.
Or, yeah, I'd allow nature or, yeah, probably just nature.
Non-investigation?
No, I'd say
Okay.
nature.
Gotcha. Coming right up with 12, so not that good.
Well, obviously, whatever it is, it breathes fire. That's basically what you can draw from it, which
think
narrows
it's
down your
fire-breathing
possibilities a
character.
little bit, but you
Something
don't know.
that flies and breathes fire.
Basically.
Well, probably best we get the heck out of here before it comes back for some more.
There's nods. He sort of gets back onto the cart. Yeah, let's get moving. He didn't find anything of particular note besides burned, charred corpses and the remains of possible stuff that was that used to be there.
You had a natural 18, yeah?
Yeah.
You would find also, as you're kind of digging through more rubble, making your way back, a single scale, small and red, kind of embedded on a quarrel that's like lying on the ground. Somebody got a shot off, apparently.
I pick up the scale and examine it. Tilt up the visor of the helmet and just rub at my nose ridge and then set it back down. There are dragons abound. I think that's a pretty solid guess. He says he hands Sebastian the scale.
Well, probably not a good sign, but it never really is.
Definitely not a good sign. So shall we?
Let me see that. Brickfoot grabbed the scale. Does it look anything like the dragon scale he used to have?
It looks pretty similar, just smaller.
Okay. Need to kind of hand it to whoever's next. Yeah, that's not a bad conclusion. I'd say probably not a horribly old one for the size of this, but I'm no expert.
As you're standing in front of these horses, still kind of like stroking their manes and keeping them calm, Dovod, they suddenly start to spook again. They start getting nervous. They start stomping their hooves and chomping on their bits.
Is there a place for cover nearby?
So this section of the road is pretty open. It's just hilly and plains.
Well,
There's a forest maybe another hour, and we'll probably you can see a forest like just beyond the next hill.
Dovod would move quickly back into the wagon and look at Sebastian and say, "Time to go.
Sounds
We can
good to
pick
me.
up Darius on the way." Or are you by the wagon now?
I was heading back when I found the scale, so yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you guys can all hurriedly climb into the wagon bed.
Yep. It's time to go, guys.
Sebastian, I'm gonna need an animal handling check to get these horses moving.
Oh, damn. I think what you mean to say is you need Dovod too, because I rolled a 9 again.
Yeah, they're moving in different directions, pulling against the rain. They're not moving in
Don't you just whip this thing? Why aren't they going?
Just give me the reins, boy. And he would pull them out of your hand. There we go. 22.
Yeah. Whether it's just because you've been around animals so much, being bristle. I mean, not bristle. Oh my goodness, what's the name of your boar? Truffles.
Truffle.
Whether it be Truffle or Blizzard, like you just seem to have a natural gift with these animals, or your bird from the one city that you control jumping off over the walls. You just seem to have a natural tendency to work with animals. And as you kind of take the reins and start like snapping them and like, trying to get them to go and calm them down, they fall into line almost immediately. I want everyone to roll me a perception check. Okay. Since it's like late at night now and the sun's going down. The clouds above you are kind of like a lightish orange as the sunlight kind of reflects off of them. But you hear a sound. If you look skyward, you'd see that the clouds above you were a little bit too orange as a jet of flame explodes outwards and a shriek shortly follows it. I'm going to need you all to roll initiative as the wagon starts to move.
I was afraid of that.
Okay. It's going to go Sebastian, followed by Dovod, followed by Creature, followed by Griff, followed by Darius. Sebastian, you hear the shriek, you see the plume of flame, and the horses begin to move. What do you do?
How far is it?
It's like maybe 100 feet in the air above you.
And it sees us? Like I've confirmed that, or do we not know yet?
You're not entirely certain yet, though you would assume so, as the screech sounded like the sound of a hunt beginning.
All right. Is there any way that I can maybe navigate the horses into a deeper part of the forest and get us some cover? So that I don't have to spend a turn like breaking through the forest or whatnot?
So here's the thing. Whoever's controlling the wagon can choose to dash on their turn with the wagon itself, doubling the movement speed. It is going to take you guys about 5 rounds to get to the forest without dashing. So 3 rounds with dashes.
All right. And factoring in that I'm no longer
holding the reins, yes.
Because I can't roll higher than a 9. I will ready in action for when the thing does come. That I will if I like know for certain that it's coming our way, I'll just blast something off at it.
Okay, sounds good. Are you preparing like a vial to throw or like a spell or what?
I'm probably preparing an Eldritch Blast, but
Okay.
it's in range already. But I'm just waiting to make sure that like it's coming right for us, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Perfect. So you prep an Eldritch Blast. Dovod, what do you do as the wagon starts to move?
Dovod is going to dash with the wagon because he's driving it.
Okay, that'll require an animal handling check.
Hey.
And each time you do it, it's DC 14.
Okay. I rolled a 14. There we go.
Okay.
Perfect.
The wagon lurches forward, and the horses, with not needing very much coaxing, just take off. They're terrified. Okay. Something swoops down out of the sky towards you. You see massive wings. You see a lithe, large body. You see the vestiges of flame leaking out of a mouth, draconic in appearance. But as the flames leak out, you see that this dragon has 3 heads. A lion head in the middle, a goat head on the side. This is not a dragon. This is a chimera. It streaks towards you. You see the mouth open again and is going to douse your wagon in flame. I'm going to need you all to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Can I blast him first?
Yeah, you can make a blast. You can make an attack at him.
So looking at Eldritch Blast, it says when you reach higher levels, 5th, that you get 2. So I don't think it says higher spell level. So do you think that would apply or no?
I think it means 5th level warlock.
Okay, cool with that. All right, and then I'll make a dex save in a second, but let's do that first.
Okay. May I, if possible, maybe use my Holy Shield ability to maybe provide cover for the fire so the effects are mitigated?
I'll let you do it for yourself and one other person.
Okay. Fulgrim's in the back, so I'm probably just gonna, make sure he doesn't instantly die from that.
Okay, so I'll give you advantage on save then, and I'm just going to say Fulgrim doesn't take any damage.
All right.
Okay. So, Brith and Darius are going to take full damage, and you two are both going to take half. Fulgrim takes none, and the wagon's going to take half, actually. Okay. So, okay. Brith and Darius, I need you both to take 31 points of damage. Sebastian and Dovod take half, so 15. The wagon's going to take half, so 15. And Fulgrim takes nothing. So just this gout of explosive flame erupts from this draconic mouth, coating you in painful 3rd-degree burns, blistering and popping as it roars across your skin. You feel like you are being baked alive. Your armor immediately becomes an oven. And just the pain, the sheer pain of being coated in this flame is overwhelming. Brith, with a nat 1, I'm going to need you to make me another dex save at disadvantage. Okay. You barely manage to not get the worst possibility. As you're baked, you fall backwards onto the wagon, being knocked prone, but you manage to maintain a hold on your longsword, so it does not fall out of your hand. You are now prone in the back of the wagon, though, lying next to Fulgrim on the ground. Briff, it is your turn.
If
So
I could,
being-
or no, I can't. Never mind. Sorry.
So being prone, would I be able to reach for my pack and pull out my longbow?
Oh, wait. Sebastian, did you hit?
No, I definitely missed, but I'm wondering if I could cast Hellish Rebuke as an action. I can't remember if it's a...
It's a bonus. It's a reaction. You can do it as a reaction.
Yeah, and it's only if they damage me, not a melee or attack. So I would like to do that dexterity
Okay,
saving throw.
it failed the dex save. So go ahead and just put damage in the chat. Go ahead, Briff.
Thank you.
Okay, I can
What are you trying to do?
pull out my longbow and shoot that while still remaining prone.
I'd let you try while prone, but it would be a disadvantage.
Okay, so disadvantage to attack with that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Which it would be the same standing anyways, because you're in a moving vehicle. So
Okay. So that will be in yeah, 14 to hit.
14 just barely hits.
All right. Three points of damage.
Okay. Your arrow just manages to graze the side of this creature, and it shrieks in pain. This time the lion's head roaring. And anything else?
I think that I'll be able to kind of remain here next to Fulgrim, holding my longbow.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Next up is Darius.
Okay. So this thing got close enough to breathe its fire. How close is it actually in terms of like from cart to Chimera? What's the space?
Well, it can fire its breath in a 15-foot cone, so it's probably 10 feet away from the cart, just like flying directly behind it.
Okay. So I call over to Sebastian as I raise my shield, trying to ignore the blistering pain that I just got bathed in. And I go, does this thing hurt when it's stabbed? And basically what he's trying to do is he's basically going to take a few steps back, and he doesn't have ranged options. So basically what I'm going to try and do is use its momentum to try and jump on it and start wailing on it.
Interesting. So you're taking a ready to action to jump on this thing if it gets closer?
Or, yeah, that's effectively what I'm trying to do. Or jumping off if I can, and using its flight momentum to hook onto it, Shadow of the Colossus style.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Yeah, you gotta like ready up, like you're just like 1 for the money, 2 for the show. Okay, Sebastian. Sebastian, your turn.
I see him readying up, and I say, "What are you thinking, old man?"
And he would respond, I'm thinking I can't hit it from here.
Would this help? And I'll reach in and I'll pull out my grappler, which I still have from the what was that? The Quiet Keeps. Would this help? And I'd pull it out and like offer to throw it to him.
Yeah, the grappler is basically like a 3-hooked claw that you can like attach onto stuff if you throw it. Maybe.
So I'll pass that to him. Is that an action or?
It would just be a move, part of your movement.
Okay, I'll do that, and then I will yell out that we need to spread out so that it doesn't burn Fulgrim alive. And I, for lack of a better plan, am going to jump off and try to hit it with a witch bolt if I'm in range.
Like jump off, like the cart?
Yeah.
You do understand the wagon is thundering along as fast as it can go with 2 horses.
Yeah, dude, you're like jumping on a super fast moving treadmill right now. Just
I mean, yeah.
oh, good.
I honestly,
Okay.
Tuck and roll, tuck and roll.
I mean, I guess I could like kind of meta and not think about the fact that he might not re-roll his fire breath, but in my mind, I feel like Sebastian would be like, AoE fire breath really doesn't feel good, so we need to spread out so that he doesn't do that again.
I mean, you guys are thundering towards the forest.
Yeah.
I mean, you can jump off if you want to. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Also, do keep in mind that you're trying to hit it with a spell you have to keep line of sight on. We're heading towards cover.
Yeah.
It's chasing the cart.
That's I don't know. Too
that's
meta
a fair estimate.
for me at the time of the moment. So I will I guess not jump off, but witch bolt.
Yeah, you can witch bolt. Are you sure you don't want to jump off? I like that idea.
I mean, I kind of want to jump off, but I feel like if people see me trying to jump off and we're like, don't jump off, then they'd be like, all right, I'll stay here.
Wait a second, Sebastian. That grass right over there looks really soft and cozy.
All right, jump off.
That.
Acrobatics check.
There's some really sharp rock over here.
All right.
Yeah, give me acrobatics.
Let me tell you what I rolled. A whopping 9.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
Okay, you jump off. Give me your midair witch bolt real quickly. I think does it have to make a dex save or do you make an attack?
I think I have to hit. Yeah, I do.
I believe Witch Bolt is an attack spell, yeah.
And go ahead and give me that juicy, spicy witch bolt attack.
All right. Fuck. I'm actually using inspiration at this point. This is ridiculous rolls. There we go. Natural 15 plus my modifier.
Okay, that hits. So give me a d12.
All right. You guys are no fun. I just want to jump off, okay? Blistering 2 lightning damage.
Laws, that is so strong. Okay, you jump off. You like zap this thing. It's like a little like you've been running through the carpet.
I'll try to get its attention. Like, hey,
yeah, you give a little
over
static
here.
shock. Yeah, you jump off. And then on a 9 with an acrobatics, you're like the initial jump looks so graceful. You just like a gazelle just mid leap in the air.
Don't worry, guys, I got this.
1 foot hits the ground while the other foot's still up behind you. And it's like a mailbox just got hit by a car. And you just roll like several times before you come to a stop. And you're going to take falling damage from this. It's going to hurt.
Give it to me.
Okay, that's 7 points of falling damage as your body is just like slammed into the ground like a pancake on a frying pan.
Feels good.
No, it doesn't. Let me roll something. Well, you managed to get the Chimera's attention.
Yeah, that's right. I have my whopping 2 lightning damage bolt linked onto him.
Okay.
Leave my friends alone.
Well, it's going to next turn. Dovod, your turn.
Help me.
Dovod, out of the corner of his eye, just sees Sebastian leap from the seat beside him off the cart. He can't like grab him or yell, "No, what are you doing?" fast enough before Sebastian disappears off the edge, and he just sees him tumbling across the grass, and then the whole lightning and everything. He's going to try to pull back on the reins, just to try to slow down or stop the wagon. I imagine the horses got a little cooked too from this, and or at least scared enough by the flame. So
they're tailless horses now.
Yeah.
The brown butt in front of you.
So so I got a 21 on my animal handling, if that's enough to stop them.
That's perfect. Yeah, you can stop the wagon in its tracks, and you do so well that the horses don't injure themselves because of it.
Right. So unfortunately, Darius and Briff probably don't realize I'm going to stop the wagon so quick.
Oh, they get a little bit of that Red Rover whiplash.
Yeah. And so stopping the wagon, I imagine that'll be my action. And Dovod's just going to say, "God damn that guy." And he's just going to jump down from the wagon. And I imagine we covered some distance. So he's going to start running And as his bonus action, he's going to rage, and he's going to start running towards the Chimera.
Okay, yeah, you start to rage, and I imagine you're just screaming, "You idiot!"
Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. But
As
how
it-
far away is the Chimera?
It's like slowing down and coming to a stop before Sebastian. So it's like maybe 40 feet behind you.
40 feet. Okay. Yeah, so I can go. So I probably use half my movement to get down from the wagon. So I can go about 15 feet because I can now move 35 feet.
Yeah, you'll be able to make it there next turn then.
Okay, cool.
To help him without dashing, that is. Okay, yeah, you're just screaming at
So
Sebastian.
I'm going to wait on the rage then. If
Okay.
I realize the Chimera was so far away.
Yeah, that's fine. You can wait on the rage then. That's fine. Yeah, so you hop down, you start running back towards him, just screaming bloody murder at this foolish decision of Sebastian's to jump off the edge of the wagon. He's like laying in the grass, dazed. He looks like he knocked his head on a stone as he was rolling. He's kind of like sitting up, just like. And Sebastian, behind you, you hear a thump and a whoosh as wings slap together, gusting wind across you. You hear the padding of massive footsteps coming up behind you. And as you slowly turn your head and look back, you see the Chimera glowering down at you. It's going to make 3 attacks on you.
Bring it.
Oh, that's definitely going to hit. That's a 26. So the bite comes in as the middle lion head lunges forward for 7 points of damage, locking onto your side, swinging you back and forth. Drop that dice. The goat head, oh, there we go. That's a 21. That's going to hit too. Starts to gore you with these massive horns as you drop to the ground, swinging you about. And that's going to be another 9 points of damage.
Ooh.
And then it's going to lunge forward with its claws as you're secured there on the ground.
Before it gets any further, because I'm pretty sure I'm going down, I'd like to hellish rebuke.
Okay. Yeah, hellish rebuke it. Dex save. It gets a 14. Does that succeed?
14. Shit, does it succeed? 8, 11, 12. Yeah, it does. Half
Okay,
damage.
so it's going to take half damage then.
Yeah. All right. That would be 6 damage. I already halved it.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of grunts as this explosion. Oh, explain to me what it looks like as you manipulate the bleak to make this explosion of flame. You're muted.
So the whole stop using the bleak magic talk that we had just hours before has kind of left him, and in life or death situation, he just starts tapping into it, and the bleak itself starts to emanate from his eyes now, which as nighttime is coming are starting to glow, and as it hits him and hits him again, and he can feel himself losing consciousness, he just yells out, "I'll make you pay for that!" And then just a surge of bleak energy rips from him like a purplish fire and hits him for that 6 damage.
Okay. Yeah, this as it's goring you with its horns, just this explosion of flames like slashes across its back, and it kind of grunts and screams, and it looks down at you, sensing that it came from you, this creature, kind of part of the physical material realm, part bleak, knows that you did this to it, and it's going to rear up in the air and slam its claws into your back, raking across it multiple times, tearing your back to shreds, dealing 8 more points of damage to you.
Okay. I'm definitely unconscious.
That drops you? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like leaning in, like sniffing at its what it sees as a kill as Dovod is rushing it. It kind of looks up at you as you're screaming, "You idiot." And that'll be it for its turn. Briff.
So Briff, after that sudden stop and just being roasted in his new armor, is just grimacing hard. Just, holy crap, that hurts. Because again, roasted alive, fell on his ass, and then slid across his ass. He looks back and sees this happening. And I'm going to get it from being prone, which I believe takes half my movement, use the rest to run up, and then try to shoot. So. And that is a nat 20. All right.
That'll be 1d8 plus your modifier, double.
All right. 18 points of damage.
Ow. Where does your arrow hit?
I bet it would hit as he pulls back, and this thing's getting ready to, or rearing up to do one more attack, and he hits it like right in the neck, just in that joint there where it's nice and soft and stuff, so it can move some, just right in one of those necks.
Yeah, the goat head starts to scream and bleat in pain as this arrow just drills into it. Okay, Darius.
Okay, so seeing as my jumping idea has now gone into the drain, Darius is gonna hold the grappler in one hand and the sword in the other as he charges off of the wagon, and he's basically gonna swing the grappler a few times and try to sort of at best hook it maybe around one of the heads so he has a good grip.
Go ahead and give me a ranged attack with the grappler.
All right, may I add strength to this?
You can add dex.
Yay. Oh, natural 20.
Nice. Yeah, it wraps around the dragon neck and kind of like attaches to itself. You get it like the hook grabs onto the rope. It was just a perfect, beautiful throw.
And yeah, I assume I use my movement to get there, and I'm basically gonna next turn just be prepared to jump up onto this thing's back and start stabbing at it.
Damn 20s.
Damn 20s. Okay, Sebastian, death save.
Yeah, buddy. We'll check that to failure town.
Noise. You hear in your head, I told you were nothing without me, Sebastian.
Well, if I die, you won't be much either.
But I can always find another bearer. There is always somebody desperate for power as you are.
Let's see about that.
Okay, Dovod.
Dovod is running. He's going to rage. What was starting as a rage is full blown rage by the time Darius goes running past him, swinging this rope thing, and he's just going to take Ithar's sword and charge in and try to kick this thing's ass. So that's 21 to hit. And that is 15 slashing damage.
Ooh, ouch.
And he'll do it again. That is a 14 plus 8 is 22.
That hits.
And that's 16 slashing damage.
Oh.
And he's just yelling, "Get off that foolish ass."
Yeah, this chimera is taking a beating. It starts backing away, like snapping at you, trying to get you to back away from its kill. The food that it's going to eat, and it's kind of like biting at you, snapping at you, backing away as you just cut and cut, and it just backing away and just snapping and biting. Okay, and it is going to try to take off. I'm going to need an athletics check from you, Darius, to try and keep this thing on the ground, contested.
All right.
Oh, I got a nat 20, so good luck.
Oh boy. I got a nat 22.
Okay. So
which one has the higher modifier?
It's got a +6.
I also have a +6, 3 strength, 3%, 3 proficiency mod.
Okay.
So in other words,
so it manages to take off, but you manage to hold on.
okay. So I imagine like the rope is starting to tense.
Yeah, you're getting lifted into the air, like your feet are off the ground.
Oh fuck.
So you're still holding on though. Do you want to keep holding on?
I'm not letting go.
Okay. Well, so you're not going to get hit by this then, but it rolled a 6 on its recharge. So the dragon's mouth is going to open up again and just bathe you three on the ground in fire. Sebastian, Dovod, and Riff. Does anybody cover Sebastian?
Please.
Guys.
Stabilizing.
This is totally up to you, Ty, or not. But where Dovod had said get away from him, I would imagine he would try to interpose himself between the Chimera and Sebastian.
So I'll allow you to do that. It would just be that means so Sebastian won't take any damage. You'll just make your dex save at disadvantage.
Oh, so that'll negate my
danger sense basically. Yeah. So just be a normal check, and then Riff just a check.
Yeah, I'm not good. Well, it wouldn't make sense if I'm covering him. I wouldn't be able to actually dive out of the way. So I failed.
Okay. Oh, you guys both fail. Okay, that's 31 points of damage to both of you.
Oh,
this thing fucking hurts.
Yeah, Briff gets coated and just drops. Sebastian gets covered by Dovod. Dovod, you take the full brunt of this to the face. I imagine that you're just like screaming into the flame.
Well, thankfully, it's like Dovod's skin is tougher than most normal people's skin. So even though it rolls across him and it blisters, it's not as charred and blackened as you would expect. He actually can half that damage. So it would have been nice if I made my save, but.
Yeah, I imagine that you look more bronzed than burnt right now.
It's like you spent a little bit too much time on the beach without the sunblock.
You put too much of the tanning oil on yourself at the tanning booth.
But just one side. Chimera facing side.
Okay, yeah, so Darius, if you're not going to let go, you are now 40 feet in the air.
Okay. I'm holding on by one arm, and I'm basically.
Oh, your mic's cutting out.
Oh, is it?
Oh, there you go now. Now we can hear you.
Okay. So I imagine I'm holding on by one arm now. I forcibly sheathe the sword, and I start to use my what was it? My second wind, and I start climbing up this thing, and or spend just trying to get up on this thing's back.
Okay.
Going from Shadow Colossus to Dragon's Dogma.
You do realize if you kill this thing midair, you're falling with it, right?
Partially.
It is 40 feet off the ground now.
Yes. So I heal myself for 1d10 plus 5. That is 9 HP. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna spend my move trying to climb this thing up, and can I action surge to get up there faster?
I'm gonna actually have you take a athletics check to see if you can even climb this thing.
Fair enough. That would be a 17.
Okay, you can climb. I'm going to count climbing up this rope as like difficult terrain, so you can only move half movement.
Okay.
So you're like at the very bottom of this rope, which is like 20 feet. So you're 20 feet off the ground right now, 20 feet beneath this thing. You can't get there this turn, maybe next turn.
Okay.
And you can't action surge because you second winded.
Fair enough. That's still a bonus action, so yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you can start to climb this thing. You're just like, and you get like halfway up. So you're like 10 feet beneath this thing now.
All right.
Okay. All right. Sebastian, death save.
1 success.
Okay. Dovod, you are bronzed, and your skin is now like a burnt orange. You were an Oompa Loompa. And you're standing over Sebastian's unconscious body.
So, how high is this chimera now?
40 feet in the air.
40 feet. Devod's going to reach down at his belt, taking one of the hands off of his sword, and he's going to throw a hammer up at this thing. Now, I would be at disadvantage, but he's going to do it recklessly, which will cancel that out because it's outside of its range. 14, 21.
Which hits? 21
and
hits.
that is going to be 7 points of bludgeoning damage as this hammer just slams into its chest and then just falls to the ground.
Yeah, you just hear this dolt boom, as it hits it in like mid mass and just hangs there for a second. You hear like a crack as if it broke something, and then it falls back to the earth.
Yeah, and he has a second hammer, but he can't actually throw it because he didn't have it out before.
Okay.
So that'll be the end of his turn. He's just going to continue to stand near Sebastian. He kind of looks over his shoulder down at him, and Sebastian probably doesn't look too good.
No, he does not look too good. You can't tell who's closer to death now, him or Fulgrim.
And he doesn't know if Sebastian can hear him or not, but he says, "Don't worry, lad. It doesn't look so bad." And that'll be the end of his turn.
He's just like,
gurgling blood.
Yeah. There's a little smidgen of blood just coughs out of his mouth. Okay, the Chimera. This Chimera is like, it feels the weight of you beneath it, and it is going to take the dash action and come down within 10 feet of the ground to try and pull you off of it by dragging you across the ground, Darius. So make me an athletics check at disadvantage.
I am spending an inspiration to negate that.
Okay, and it's going to be a hard check, and you're going to take a lot of damage from being dragged.
Does Heavy Armor Master count for this?
No, because it's not an attack, I don't think.
I think it's just any damage.
I think it's any non-magical damage.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'll allow it to count then.
All right. 23.
Okay, take 26 points of damage as you're dragged across the ground. It dashed 60 feet, so I rolled 66 for you being dragged.
Okay, wow. I'm up by 2 HP.
Okay. Are you still holding on?
I am still holding on. I am not letting this thing go.
Okay.
I appreciate you being tenacious. That's really cool.
Okay, it's flying directly near the ground now. Your feet are kind of like bouncing off of the ground.
But oh wait, actually, that'd be 5 HP. Forgot to subtract 3.
Oh wait, it dashed. That's 120 feet of movement.
Holy crap!
I'm adding more d6s, by the way, because I only rolled half of what I should have.
Are you trying to kill me?
That's 20. That's another 22 points, by the way. Let it go. Let it go.
Before we all die.
Okay. Do you let go? Well, I guess you do let go. You're unconscious.
I'm unconscious. How do I not?
Roll to see if he gets connected to the grappler.
In a strange twist of fate, his hand gets twisted up in the rope, and now he's being dragged.
You know what? Roll me a luck die, Darius.
Okay. I'm gonna do that. 7.
We're here for you, Chris, man.
That's pretty
So,
much as
what,
lucky
does
as
your
you can.
arm pop out of the socket so you lose the right one this time?
A 7 is basically as lucky as you can be, unless you got an 8. So your hand does not get caught up in the rope, and
Okay.
instead you just skip across the ground like a human-sized skipping stone.
And I imagine there's a loud like chung, chung, like
Did-
crashes as he just lands.
Did Darius not learn from his encounter with Ulor that you do not hold onto a rope if something large is pulling it?
Guess not.
Well, to his defense, when we were fighting the giant, we wrapped the ropes around it and we stupidly held on to them. So
Yeah.
he's kind of getting a conflicted message.
The chimera is gone. It's just like zooming away from you. It doesn't want anything else to do with you guys. It is hurt. It's going to lick its wounds.
After nearly causing a TPK.
Yeah.
Dovod's going to turn around and see if
returns.
Sebastian is still alive. And
He's
if he
still
is,
alive.
he's going to try to stabilize him with a medicine check.
Yeah, go ahead. Give me a medicine check.
Sorry, Sebastian, I probably just killed you because I rolled a nat 1.
Can I give him inspiration to get that?
Oh, wait.
Please?
I have inspiration. I am going to use it. Thank you for
Probably
saying
a wise moment. Probably a good moment.
10. Is that what I need?
Yeah, 10's what you need.
Oh, whew. So, wow, Chris, that was close. Thank God for that inspiration.
Yeah, like this chimera is the Oprah, and she's like, you get a point lingering injury, you get a lingering injury, you get a lingering injury.
Oh, is that how you do it? If you drop to 0, you get a lingering injury?
Yeah,
Mhm.
buddy. I'm waiting to
Cool,
roll it.
I like that.
Roll them d20s, boys. All 3 of you guys went down.
Oh, baby. Horrible scar.
Oh, do you have that page, Chris?
Yeah, I have a chart open in Fantasy Grounds.
Oh,
Horrible.
wait, hold on a second here. Briff went down too. How did I miss that? So it was only the
Yeah, it went down.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I think Devon's realizing just how hard his job is going to be.
I thought Briff was still up. I thought just me and Darius got nailed with that flame.
No.
Oh shit! Well, then I'm glad that chimera left.
Yeah.
I almost
Yeah.
imagine Darius being one of those like dog walkers who gets like the Rottweiler and like can't keep it like from like running, and so he's just like holding onto the leash, just like.
But yeah, I got a 17. Other Chris, what does that mean?
17 is a minor scar.
Okay then, I could live with that.
That's like disadvantage on persuasion, but advantage on intimidation.
I think that was the major one actually.
What'd you get, Riff?
I got an 8. Trying to find the
Yikes.
Dang.
8 is a broken rib again.
You just got rid of it.
I think Briff has very fragile ribs.
So
Brittle.
who's getting the
I
potion?
must.
He was born a very frail child. He didn't drink his milk, so his bones are very brittle.
Briff, drink your milk. I don't like milk.
He's just cracking some wise A comment, just like, "You drink your milk, Mom."
All right, so Dovod is going to go get into he's going to stabilize everybody, obviously.
Yeah, go ahead and do Briff next, and then make a death save if he fails, Briff.
I failed, so Briff, sorry, but it wasn't a 1. And I do stabilize him after that, and Darius.
Okay, good, because I got a 9 on my roll.
Okay.
So there's good news and bad news, Darius. What do you want?
Before I answer that, do I need to make death saves while he's tending to Briff?
Yeah, 1 death save as he gets from
Yeah.
Briff to you.
15, so that's a success. Okay, bad news, please.
Bad news is I rolled another 1. Good news, I had inspiration from last session, and I got inspiration this session, so I'm going to use it, and I rolled an 11.
So that's better. I'm stable.
Everybody stabilize, haul him up into the sick wagon.
And now I have no more. Now everybody looks like Fulgrim. So guys, this is quite a plan.
Dovod's literally the bring out your dead guy.
As Dovod is going to
Bring out.
Dovod is going to just start driving the wagons back towards town.
You're just all by yourself. Everybody's like dead and dying in the back. You're just like,
this is actually going to work. This is going to work, bro. This is all going to be part of our story to get inside the city.
See, the thing is that you're showing up at the village. This isn't even the city yet.
Well, it'll make it easier. It'll be cleaner because Dovod we won't have like a lot of people wanting to talk with the NPC and everything. It'll be really
Just kind of.
As you guys go through this forest, the three of you are out. Nothing happens. You guys make it through the forest just fine. Dovod's probably just like cursing under his breath and just shaking his head, like, "What have I gotten myself into? Why did I promise Ithar anything?" And eventually, you arrive at Craddock, and Craddock is burnt. It is obviously was sieged and destroyed. Or pillaged, really, by the army, and it's silent. There's nobody in the streets. You can't see anybody, and as you kind of go through town, kind of passing empty house after empty house, you hear a psst from a house nearby.
Dovod would pull on the reins, stopping the horses. And he'd kind of look in the general direction. He'd also look back in the wagon to see if any of his compatriots have awoken yet.
Get like a ragtag, like thumbs up, like.
Yeah. All right, Sebastian, you keep an eye on these three while I go check that out. And he'll get down off the wagon, but he'll do it nice and slow because he's pretty sore. He's still got that sunburned look with blisters.
He looks like a California beach boy.
Except that like his eyes, where he squinted his eyes really tight, that's really still white.
You look like you've been wearing like a pair of like sunglasses in the hot sun all day. Okay.
And I'll be like, "Hello?
And hear that. What are you doing out? Don't you know there's a chimera?"
"Yeah, we know."
"What are you doing out?"
I don't think that chimera's coming back anytime soon."
"What do you mean?"
Oh. He kind of thumbs out over his shoulder towards the wagon. He goes, "Well, we ran into it and put a hurting on it, but not before it put a hurting on a couple of my friends."
And the person will kind of like, you'd see like a vague shadow move in the window, kind of like somebody looking in the back of the wagon. Oh, that's good news. It's been attacking us as we try to leave the town for the past few days. And who are you?
"Oh, I'm Dovod, and I'm looking for Vasher. Is he around?"
And the man,
and Dovod's kind of talking, just quiet, just loud enough for this person to hear.
Yeah, and the man steps around the corner into the light, and the moonlight kind of bathes him, revealing who he is. You see dirty, tattered clothing, just kind of dirty skin. This person's been living in squalor, basically. His clothing in tatters, and he's missing an arm, and his hair is kind of like a deep, kind of dirty blonde. "I'm Vasher. Quick, bring them in here."
Yeah, Dovod would. He'd probably bring the wagon around so it's not quite out in the open. But then he would, if Sebastian can walk on his own, then he would help get the others into shelter.
Yeah, Vasher would kind of like come out and like put an arm around Sebastian to help walk him in, kind of leading you guys into this house. And it's just burnt out like the rest of them, just not quite as burnt. But he leads you guys to the back room where there's a set of stairs going down into the cellar. Quick, down here. His voice is very dry and raspy from somebody who hasn't had a good drink of water in quite some time. And he kind of helps Sebastian hobble down the stairs.
Yeah, after we get everybody down the stairs and situated, I think Dovod would break some rations out of his pack, and he'd hand a water skin over to Vasher.
Yeah, Vasher would kind of he'd like nod to you, thanks, and take like a big drink of it. Much better. I didn't expect for you to run into it. I'm sorry. It doesn't usually hunt at night. That's why I thought it would be best for Osmond to send you at this time. If I had known. Well, regardless, it's good that I caught you before you got to the courtyard. There are still reclaimers here, soldiers, camped out in the old inn, one of the few places not burnt down by that creature. And you look over the four of you. I'll try and get you out, but it's going to be difficult. During the day, the reclaimers will be moving, and so will the Chimera. And at night, well, let's just say that there are plenty of eyes willing to sell out somebody to get a bit of gold and to get on the reclaimer's good side. And you look over at you, and you kind of like take a second glance at you, Dovod. Interesting, you're Dovod, aren't you? Of the Vipers?
One and only.
You'd nod. Well, people here know who you are. You've done some good in these parts, as far as I've heard. So what do you guys need? I know you need to get into White Spire unnoticed. And you take a look at the other three. These are Convoker initiates. And you look back at you, Dovod. Interesting.
We need to make ourselves look like refugees. And he would look over at us all, and he'd go, okay, well, we already did that part. But any information you can give us that roads we should avoid, things we should know if we run into any reclaimers.
He'd nod. And you kind of look over your group. Well, first you're going to have to ditch that clothing. Those three, they stand out. Clothing's too nice. Leather, finely made, maybe a bit burnt, but they'll know that they're Convoker initiates. It's plain and simple, written on their clothing and their faces. As for you, we're going to have to change your face. You're somewhat of a wanted figure around these parts. Ever since what you did at Greystone.
Dovod would chuckle a little bit as he thinks of what he and Ithar did there. So
he kind of like looks at you. Did you actually run one of those birds and jump it over the wall?
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Well, if anything, you're famous for being brave. That was quite the feat. Even took on one of the crazed giants they have among their ranks, the runners.
Okay, he wouldn't laugh at that part. He'd probably wince a little bit when he says that.
Yeah. And he kind of just like nods. Well, I've got some spare clothing down here. You can go through the crates, see what might fit people. As for you, and he'd kind of like walk over to like a box and he'd pull out a vial. And it is filled with like a murky green liquid. Drink this about 20, 30 minutes before you get to the gate. It'll change the way you look. Can't say if it'll be for better or worse, but it'll change it. And he'd hand it to you.
Dovod would take it and he'd tap his finger on his nose, basically saying, "Yep, I got you." And he would tuck it away in his belt pouch.
And he'd nod. Now we need to figure out how to get you out of the city, out of this city. Like I said, there are reclaimers around. They walk patrols around the city. Any ideas? I could maybe help with the distraction, but I don't know. They kind of ignore us unless we do something pretty big.
What do they do about the Chimera?
Nothing. After they drove the Talmor guard out, all they do is if they see it coming, they get inside of a building and hide out. Let it burn buildings, attack people. They don't even patrol the roadways anymore. No merchant caravans come through here anymore.
But how do they know it's around? Is there some sort of warning?
I don't know. Maybe they've got some sort of a lookout somewhere around the town, something. And he kind of like pauses for a second. Now that you mention it, they do have a magicker among their ranks. Maybe he's able to communicate with people far away? I don't know. Perhaps if you removed him from the equation, you could get out pretty easily. You other two begin to stir as he kind of like starts to tend to your wounds and give you water to drink and do what he can to help you.
Can we rest for about 10 days?
I'd prefer that, to be honest. He says he's gonna, as he kind of stretches out a bit, but he goes, assuming they fill us in to what they're talking about while we're out. I assume they walk around when the thing isn't there. Does the magicka do the same?
You said what? Sorry, I missed that last part.
I assume the other claimers walk around and do things when the Chimera isn't about. Does the magicka do the same?
Yeah, he goes out from time to time with patrol bands, checking different parts of the city. I don't really know what they do, though. I've never been able to get close enough to look. But he does go out sometimes. For the most part, he's holed up in the inn, though.
What kind of clothes does he wear? Big hat? And he kind of look over to Sebastian. Kind of wiry, kind of small.
He isn't Gandalf the Grey. Okay, so he like looks at you, and he's like, robes. He doesn't carry a staff or anything, if that's what you're asking. Magickers are generally skilled in only one kind of magic. Maybe he's just communication or telekinetic or mental.
I glanced over to Sebastian again and go, would the general populace recognize him if, say, or recognizes someone else wore the robes?
I don't think so. Most people avoid the reclaimers.
Interesting. He laid
Oh, we can't hear you at all now.
no, sorry. Testing, 1, 2.
There you go. It happened again.
Fucking hell.
There you go. Now we can
Basically,
hear
what
you.
I'm trying to get across is, could we possibly get his attention and make it so that basically knock him out, and then just kind of give Sebastian the robes for long, while we just kind of sneak out without much of a fuss?
He kind of just shrugs. I suppose that could be a possibility. That might work.
Upon hearing that, Dovod would pipe in and say, I don't think that's a good plan. We got to get to White Spire. And if we start making a ruckus here, they'll be on higher alert out there. We got to get through, I can't remember this town, Craddock. We're just butchering your names. Sorry, Ty.
It's okay. I forgive you guys.
Craddock, if we have to get through Craddock without them knowing. Proves our chances of getting into White Spire. I think we just gotta. What do you think? What's the best way to sneak through here? Like, other patrols, do they follow a certain pattern?
There are patrols. They do have some sort of pattern, if you could call it that. They're rather undisciplined here, but they send out patrols every morning, and they patrol until about midday. At that point, they all go back, they drink, they eat, they go back out until night. But even then, their patrol patterns are lazy. The only thing you really have to worry about is if one of the patrols outside of town, the ones you don't see hiding in the trees, informs the Magicer.
So, all right, guys. So my idea would be to get ourselves all disguised up as best we can for now. I know Dovod's going to have to do that potion when he gets closer to White Spire, but we'll just slowly, like we don't have a place to be, or we're tired, and we'll just ride this cart out. I mean, you could definitely fit the bill if we make ourselves look like we got attacked by this chimera, and which is true. So we can tell them that, and we would actually be telling the truth. And if we run into a patrol, we can just push our luck that way. I think if we try to make it too complicated, we're actually going to make it worse. That's just my 2 cents. But I don't know what you guys think.
Just kind of stick to the truth. We were hit by the chimera. Try and get to the city so we can possibly be healed.
Yeah, we'll just say we're refugees. We're just trying to get to White Spire. We heard that we can get work there. We can get food. That'll be our story. We'll stick to it. We have our illustrious leader. I'm sure will sell it, right, Sebastian?
The thumbs up again.
Yes. Are you gonna be all right, boy? Half a thumb up.
So your guys' plan is like to nonchalantly just roll through town, trying to be
so Dovod's gonna tap your armor, guys, and your breastplate. He's saying those things are gonna have to go. Any weapons you have, gonna have to go. We'll do our best to hide, like your sword and Dovod's sword. We'll do our best to hide that in the wagon. Maybe we can hide them under Fulgrim.
Underneath all the mostly dead bodies.
Right.
Wait, are we not even gonna rest?
No, we gotta rest. That was
Okay.
that was the second part of my plan. Is then we gotta stay here. We gotta at least stay here for a while.
Yeah, as you guys are discussing, and you start like pulling. I'm guessing you guys are like taking off your armor and stuff now, so you can actually rest.
Well, I'm wearing like leather or whatever, so I don't need to take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dovod would say, "Rest, boys." And Dovod would like offer to keep a lookout while they rest because they got beat pretty bad, and Dovod can rest a little bit later.
Yeah. So you guys like start like taking off the armor and like putting it in like basically like piles of clothing you could maybe hide in the bed of the wagon. And as you're doing this and kind of like stripping off the armor and like putting it away, above you hear thump, thump, thump of boots stepping into the house. And you hear, search the second floor. We'll check the basement. And that is where we'll end the session. All right, guys.
Nice.
Session 8, Aftermath.
That doesn't sound too bad. Doesn't sound too ominous.
Not at all. Let's end with what's it called? Outros. We'll start with Lionel and end with Sebastian, Chris, so that we don't mess it up this time.
Don't do it, Lionel. Don't let him tell you how to live your life.
So great game. I had a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one. I hope we survive that encounter because I have 3 of my team is like on vapor. But I'm sure Vasher is like a 15th level monk, so I think we'll be fine. But anyways, it was a fun game, Ty. Looking forward to the next one, and thanks. Sebastian, go.
He did it. Yes.
Sorry, Ty. I had to do it.
Always fun. Thanks, Ty, for running this great game. It's always a good time playing with you guys, and I can't wait till the next one.
Okay, Michael, and then Darius, Chris.
I'm Michael was playing Briff. Almost died there. Yeah, thankfully not. Though I'd be interested to know what would the write-off be for the results of everything if we did have that TPK. Thankfully not, though. I'm going to steal someone's outro, and I hope that all your dice in games end on a roll and passes on to someone. I don't know. I'm not going to filibuster this one, though I could definitely if I really wanted to.
Okay, so this is Kristen. I'm playing Darius Stonebone as always, and this game was friggin' awesome. I look forward to playing I look forward to this game every month, and I am glad that we have I haven't been disappointed thus far.
Well, that's good. All right, guys. As always, you guys all suck. I hate you guys for ruining everything at the end. Anyways, I'm DM Ty. This is my channel, On a Roll. ROLE is in roleplay. And as always, I hope you find yourselves. And thank you to Carol for tuning in for the entire game. Thank you very much. That's awesome. We appreciate you. And again, I hope you find yourselves in your games on a roll.